Between 2014 and 2023, the SPLC secretly funded more than $3 million in donated funds to individuals who were associated with various violent extremist groups, including the KKK, known as the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nations, and National Socialist Party of America. Now, what they were saying was essentially that
they were playing both ends.
A thing that I think that we both love, that we've talked about before, is banning Congress from trading stocks. So Ben Sasse is a big proponent of that. He actually proposed a bill to ban Congress from trading stocks bonds. Now, why do some people in his party really even don't like this guy? Why the president not like this guy? A lot of people who are really cool with getting rich while in there, being able to stack the deck. He didn't want people playing dirty poker.
No agenda, no bull crap, just real conversations. Thank you for joining us for the Middle of the Street podcast.
Pops, we got a lot to talk about, man.
Always. There's been it's been some craziness.
Well, the first some good things. Like I always like to point out some good things and some good news, right? I feel like I'm just always so thankful that my kids are trying and working so hard for what they think is success. And right now, they both really think that, doing good at school, or all of them think doing good at school and working hard at testing is success, and they're working hard at it. So I'm just so blessed that they're working hard for their success,
Yeah, well, that, and they're just good kids.
Oh yeah, they're good kids.
I mean, they're respectful. I mean, their lives are in a good direction. Mm-hmm. They're embracing a direction.
Yes.
And at their ages, you've kind of done everything. You've done everything you can to raise them at this point. I mean, now you're just kind of hoping and praying and encouraging, because at their ages they've kind of made their path.
It's one other thing that I think is I really start to get very sad but appreciative at the same time, right? Because you might realize they're going to be gone soon. What I mean by gone soon is out of the house a lot more, right? Whether it's just at college or, they'll be back for holidays and for summers, hopefully. But just being out of the house more and you're just, once they're there, like, right? They just make their decisions.
Well, it was like, I don't even know how long it's been now, 8-10 years ago, something like that, 8 years ago. And we were driving down the road, and I said, well, Cheryl, I said, obviously we did something right raising our kids. All of them are doing stuff they love. All of them have bought homes. Mm-hmm. All of them are participating in the economy. Mm-hmm. Can look at this and say, obviously we did some things right. I mean, because you don't know. And after kids are 13, 14, kind of their basics are formed.
Yeah. And
then you can just encourage them to do things. It's crazy.
No, for sure. A lot of their basic things are formed. And it's really cool to, I guess, see that, not end result, right? But that middle result, right? Because, of course, as teenagers, they're going to be different than as they are in the 20s and then into the 30s and in the 40s. But it's really cool to see where that stage has came so far, right?
Well, and they're at that age now to where either they're still inquisitive. They're still asking questions. They're different questions. Yeah. I mean, I remember when our kids were those ages and they'd ask questions, I probably answered them too fast looking back. I needed to answer their questions with more questions so that they had to probe more for themselves. Little tougher when our kids were that age. Everybody didn't have smartphones. Everybody didn't have all this information at their fingertips. So it's a little different time.
Our discussions are really cool because a lot of times we have these deep discussions and some people sometimes debates even, and it's really fun. And we can look things up real time. That is something that's really amazing. Sometimes they'll ask me something and sometimes they get frustrated with me because they want me to give them a quicker answer. And a lot of times I'm saying, well, here, let's just look real fast. And they're like, well, no, but I want to know what you just said. Well, you know what? I really don't know exactly. Let's see some sources and see.
And sometimes are they trying to set you up for a trap because they've already looked it up and know?
Maybe. But I'm like, look, the information's right here. We can see. But isn't it cool? Do you remember, like, I remember when we used to talk about things, even if it was something that didn't matter, right? Like something like a rumor you heard about a wrestler or something. Yeah. And then you would just ride with the rumor or talk about it, dispel it, and you had no way to look it up, no facts or anything. And now you can just go look anything up. Well, same thing with anything of substance as well, right? Now you can look something up. You don't just have to make a claim. And I think it's really cool. But they grew up, they've never not known that.
Yeah, I mean, their probably biggest challenge in growing up is with the internet is what's real information on there and what's fake information. Yeah. I mean, because I've got to the point where I normally try to look at like 2 or 3 different sources.
Look, 2 or 3 different sources got me on basketball the other day. The other month or whatever. Remember Frager? 2 or 3 sources said that he was going to be suspended because of the little gun joint that he did at the guy. And because the guy, it was really horrible too. The guy had some...
He had that happen to him in his life.
Yeah, some real tragic gun violence happened to him. Then it looked like Frager was shooting him again after he hit the 3 in his face. It was crazy. Anyways, but yeah... It's tough because then there's real sensitive, actual, real meaningful information that is fake or generated by AI that it's so easy to believe. So it makes the landscape even more tough than before when it was just 3 fake newses. Now it's 50,000.
Yeah, well, I bet Jimmy Kimmel was wishing that his was an AI thing.
What happened to Jimmy Kimmel? I heard somebody said he should get fired again.
Well,
what did he do this time?
So the thing was Saturday, right? Wasn't that the correspondence dinner?
Yeah.
When the guy showed up with guns and shot, and he got, he didn't get shot, but shot an agent who had a vest on, however that whole thing went. Like 2 or 3 days before that, he said that Melania Trump had the glow of a soon-to-be widow.
Homeboy is old. But no, hold on. Still, anyway, that's just bad taste. But hey, let's save that for a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Because I want to talk about Hope, because I had no idea about Jimmy. Right? It's like, but point blank, you're not supposed to say bad things about anything. But he's a comedian, I guess, too. Okay, let's just hold it all aside. I want to get back really quick because I didn't even know that. You just dropped something on me.
I know.
I didn't even know that. Okay. So, but I wanted to talk about, because it was a good transition. We were talking about the kids in the digital age now and everything being at your fingertips. I was just blindsided by another fact that, and you might have been thinking this, I don't know. And a lot of people might have been thinking this, I don't know. And this isn't a shot at younger kids or a shot at the younger generation, but they say in the last 20 and 30 years that test scores in all realms have just been on a steep decline. And and I make it sound drastic. It's not as drastic. When you look at the charts, it doesn't look as drastic. But I guess when you look at the way that these things move, it's drastic because they move so incrementally slowly, right? Through the decades. And so our test levels as like a nation is below where it was in the 70s for many metrics. And they say that the digitization of schooling going from something in like 2018 or 2016 to 18, something like 70 to 80% of schools were almost 100% on the screen, right? On a pad or on a Chromebook. And then after the COVID joint, a bunch of funding happened. And then so now 80%, no, it was like 98%. We're now all digitized. So it's 5 to 6 hours a day on a screen, right?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of the 5 or 6 hours on the screen to me is just where we've evolved to, because most college kids, most working adults, I mean, unless they're laborer, if they're working in an office setting, even a shipping and receiving type stuff, they're on a computer a lot all day. So, some of that's just been kind of the coming of age and things moving along. I think some of the things that really hurt, like math scores, Common Core math really changed how math was taught, how it was comprehended. And we eliminated some things out of school that I think this is going to sound bad because it's almost like we dummied it down some, thinking that we were doing the right thing, and we really then just had a negative effect on kids. And it's just, I don't know. But if you look since 1979 is when the Department of Education went to Washington. That's when it was started. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Carter. Mm-hmm. Since that point, which at that point, I think our test scores were the highest in the world for age groups. Since that point, it has just been a real steady, slow decline. Well, that's been 60 years plus, 67 years ago. So if you look at it over that 60-year timeline, that's where you really see the change.
So now this is this. I'm just looking at one graph here, right, from nationalreportscard.gov, right? I don't know exactly where they get their information because I've been hearing this stuff that we're just continuously going down and that we're continuously going down and continuously having a bad thing. And it seems to show, and I'm sure there's so many different metrics, right? But there's a big, large right here, like I think this 78 here, right, probably declares when the Department of Education started.
Yeah, 1978. That's when they first started testing. I think it was in 78.
So maybe it was on some metrics higher before that. However it goes, here it looks like it kind of goes at its height at 2012, and then it just starts to dip and dive, right?
When you're looking at math, right?
Well, math, but then if you look at, there's the reading one, starts to kind of do the same thing. Then you have the, all of them are kind of doing the same thing, right? The math, the reading. They go up, they go down, and right now they're just going down. The math, the reading scores.
See, so what year is that it peaked there in that mathematics there, that one there?
Usually all of them are around this 2012, they're showing a peak. But again, they don't have any data before the 79 that you're talking about. Yeah. I'm just saying in this last recent time.
Yeah, so I think mathematics, we could probably look it up, but I bet that's about the time that Common Core hit all the way across, because that math is a huge dip.
So you're saying that it would be more attributed, what you think, to Common Core more than just the digitization of where schools went. Because a lot of people think that school has been easier. A lot of people think that, things aren't as hard, right? So, for example, if you have to do a book report or report on something, you used to have to go to a library, encyclopedia, and all these things, right? Mm-hmm. Now you can just go and get the information from the internet very quickly. Now AI can feed you a bunch of information from a bunch of different sources. You can access for 10 different sources from credible things that you can put into your the right MLP or MPA format or MLA format and all these things right now. Is that bad or is that good? I say, how can that be bad when you have so much information at your fingertips, right? When you have so many ways to learn something or to explore something or to know something, right? So I'm saying,
Common Core Standard for Mathematics officially released in June of 2010, with the vast majority of them adopting the same year.
So your correlation
So the rollout was 11-12 school year.
So your correlation there, right, would show that, hey, look, since Common Core has been there, this math score has dropped significantly. And it was 9 points. The reading has been 4 points. So the math has been more. But you're saying that you would attribute that more to
The math to Common Core. I mean, in some schools didn't adopt it. Cheryl taught for 33 years, and she taught math. Well, she taught math 6th, 7th, and 8th, but 7th and 8th math strictly from, I don't know, last 12, 15 years.
Tell us, wave them off.
Last 12, 15 years. And she never adopted Common Core. She's like, no, that is a bad way to do math. These kids won't get it.
Yeah.
And Common Core wasn't being used in high schools because they're teaching algebra, trigonometry. They're teaching higher level scientific math. And
what is it about Common Core?
Do you
know, like, personally, or right? Have you had an experience with Common Core?
I've only had some parents tell me what they had to do to try to teach their kids Common Core, and I'm like,
okay, peep this. You remember? Okay, here's what I remember about Common Core. Okay, and you could probably be looking this up or whatever, but here's what I'm saying. For example, I bet you could ask the Chat GPT is what I call it, but the Chat GPT, ask it, hey, what is the difference in how you teach multiplication or addition with Common Core versus
well, it'd be
standard?
interesting.
Because I remember it used to be different, like how we used to count things or do things, how I was taught. It's definitely different than what I've seen when my kids were in a grade school and how they were taught after they did Montessori school.
Yeah.
It was totally different.
Yeah.
And other kids that I try to help with doing math when I was, doing different jobs at places, working with youth, they definitely did math a different way than me.
That would be great. It would be interesting to have some feedback on that, because I'm to say that I'm a Common Core math guy. I'm not. I'm still a basic math guy, but and I was horrible with math until they figured out dollar signs in whatever grade, 4th grade or whatever. Then I got way better at math.
So put it like this. That looks like a real strong correlation of that. But you don't also think that there's something to like holding a book or reading out loud or writing with writing and writing out, different things or handing in actual written work opposed to always typing or...
Yeah, and so what else transitioned at that same time? We quit teaching cursive. Sure. Because you had to write that out. I mean, you can't teach cursive by just typing it. I've said before, if I really wanted to cripple my grandchildren, buy them a manual transmission car and then write all the instructions in cursive.
They can't drive a stick shift.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we've changed.
But we're saying the change doesn't mean that it's worse.
Not necessarily.
Right, because people aren't writing out. I feel like when I'm writing out something, I've started writing more. When I'm writing out something, I feel this different connection in my brain happening where my muscle memory is writing. And now I understand you kind of get that from typing, but I don't feel like it's the same as the actual.
So for me to learn, I really need to hear it, see it, and do it. So I can hear it when I read it to myself.
Yeah.
But until I start writing it and then see it written, I don't think the retention stays the same.
You have to write it.
Yeah. I mean, the retention.
When you were a boy and you were learning to do things as a schoolmate back in the day, you guys probably wrote a lot to do memory.
You had to write everything.
You had to write everything, right? And so that trained your memory to do it through writing? Well, do you think that now the kids, their memory gets trained through listening or through
even my kids going to school, which, Megan's now 40, so it's been a minute. Zach's 31. It's been a while. Of how many notebooks we used to have to buy them versus how many notebooks your kids start with a year. I mean, we had to have a notebook for every subject and 3 reminders in some because they had to add stuff. I mean, you can remember that when you were in school.
Sure.
How much of that stuff do you
lot
buy
of
for your kids now for school?
Nothing. You literally, which, okay, again, right? So the school gives you a Chromebook. So now you don't have to spend the beginning of school. You used to have to shell out, even if you go to public school, yes, you used to have to shell out $200, $300 worth of stuff per kid. You got to have some crayons, some markers, some pencils, pencil box, the trapper keepers, folders, you're right, the papers, rulers, protractor, whatever, all the, you used to have all that. Now, you're right. They have a Chromebook.
They have a Chromebook,
or my kids, they have an iPad.
And when they get,
they have a Steve Jobs.
When they get older into high school, if they're doing extra math stuff, then they've got to get some scientific calculators or graphing calculators, which are not really cheap. I mean, I remember when we bought Zach even his graphing calculator when he was in college, maybe he was senior in high school, but had to buy him a graphing calculator. Yeah. And me, I want to buy him one that's going to last, that's going to get him through. It was like $200. Yeah. Now you can buy them from Amazon for $60. I mean, it's crazy.
All that stuff got cheaper. So I guess it's not conclusive then. You're saying that, hey, because we put these kids on the screen all day, that's what's making them less effective or less smart.
Well, but I think 2 things that have happened is how we teach, and then we've changed to our expectations of how people learn. And I think that makes us leave some people behind, because I believe that there's still a lot of humans that are auditory learners. They have to hear it. And to retain it, they have to write it too. And now from a teaching perspective, here's your assignment, click on it on this icon on your homepage of mathematics and boom, you're going. Yeah. I don't know how much oral reading they do in class. I mean, we had to do oral reading all the time.
To read and a lot of kids would get anxiety before it was their term because they was going to mess up.
Yeah. I was one of those kids. Yeah.
Really couldn't read good. Once I got past the stuttering part, could read really good.
I could read. I just couldn't get the words from my brain back out of my mouth as smoothly as I was reading it.
Like inside your head, it was fine.
Yeah. But when I started putting it out the bullhorn, it just went away.
It's something that I just don't think that they do enough of anymore. But then again, that is just a different generation, different set of expectations.
But had I not done that though, and had that anxiety and had those things, I'd have probably never been able to get into the career I was in of selling and reading and doing big presentations. And, I got through that stuff.
That was kind of like your gauntlet.
Yeah.
Taking through where it's like, hey, I got through this. Now I can go and do the other things. No, definitely. Most definitely. So even like the national scientists, they all say that kids, in grade school, they definitely should be having less than an hour per day of screen time is what even like all the national scientists
say. It's all changed now, yeah.
And they're saying that because of the way that the brain patterns go and how we just know that staring at a screen, I like to say we just know, sorry. A lot of scientists are saying that staring at a screen is in some ways just damaging. Now,
and back up to like when I was a kid, they didn't want you to sit within, I don't remember what it was, 4 foot or 6 foot of the TV. And they weren't very big TVs.
Yeah, but that was some different TVs too.
But they said they were admitting stuff and it'd be hard on their eyes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now we have these huge TVs and you can't even really see them unless you're at least 6 foot away. But they're not admitting all that, they don't have all the tubes and stuff in them. So
it's different now, right?
Yeah.
But these, it's coming out like they say, the blue light coming out of these screens still, right? There's a lot of different adverse effects that a lot of people claim, right? Now, I'm not a blue light specialist. That being said, right, there are some pretty convincing studies saying there's some adverse effects of different things, whether it be focus or whether it be insomnia issues or different types of things where it messes with people's sleep patterns or lots of different things. That being said, it just seems like in my head, in my gut feeling, right? It feels like kids shouldn't be on a screen 5 to 6 hours a day. Like just in my gut feeling, like even when it comes to like my phones, right? A lot of times, I hate to admit it, I'll catch even myself and the whole family looking at a phone. And I'll be like, oh, this is gross. This is wow. Oh, goodness gracious, right? But it's like, goodness gracious. Well, what have we been programming this whole time? Now they've been in school for how long? And that's what you do. You're on this device.
Yeah, and I think I think there's something to that until that frontal lobe is completely developed. I mean, I think it has an effect in there. That's just, again, my gut like your gut. My gut's just bigger than yours. mine's not flat like yours, but
I'm getting back to that.
but you know what I mean, because there's a lot of things that shouldn't happen until that frontal lobe's completely developed. That's my gut tells me. The back of my mind's there's something there.
No. Even for example, like drug use, right? Mm-hmm. I'm all about like, hey, if you want to do whatever drug you want to do, cool, as long as you're not hurting somebody else or messing it up for somebody else. Like messing up somebody else is fun. That being said, I don't think it should happen until 21 is cool to me. Now we know that it's really like 25, 28, yeah. I'm saying at least. So if you're 25, between 25 to 28 is really what you should be waiting to do legal drugs. Like, darn, like, should we be holding people back that much? Should we be holding people back that much then before we send them off to war? Say, you know what, you really shouldn't be making that decision to kill somebody to go and put your life on the line for something. You really need to wait for that decision till your frontal lobe is fully formed, right? So there's a lot of iffy things about that, right? Yeah. That was the big Vietnam call, right? Mm-hmm. Or right, I can't vote.
Can't vote,
but I can go to
war.
Because it was 21 back in the day. Mm-hmm. Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so people will continue to make that.
But argument. 18, you could be drafted. If your number came up and you're 18, boom, you were gone.
But you can't vote about the draft.
No.
That's tough. That would be totally tough, right?
Different. It's a different topic. Forget it. We'll catch this one later. But it's one of the things that,
like, now you got me intrigued.
Well, it's one of the things that men or young boys are forced to do that they don't force young women to do, which is to sign up for the selective services when you're 18 years old.
I was just talking with Naja about, because we were talking about misogyny, I think. And I was saying, I don't think that women should be on the front lines at all, right? And I'm like, that's just me. But then she was like, well, are you against the Black Panther Party? Right? And because she was saying because women, a lot of times had the guns, or you could say, quote unquote, on the front lines, right? And Angela Davis is behind us. But I also was like, just because I can admire something or a group or someone, I can also disagree with some points, or not even totally disagree, but say I would have did it differently or think differently about it, right? That being said, that's why it's cool to have the discussions, have the grace with everything.
But that's one of the things that change for men as they become men, as they have children. Mm-hmm. I mean, prior to me being a father, I looked at women differently than I did by the time I was a father.
Sure.
I mean, I went from, wasn't disrespectful, respected them, but now all of a sudden, I have a wife and a daughter, and they're queens and princesses.
Yes.
Much different viewpoint through my rose-colored glasses because I didn't have any sisters.
Kanye West says, "I looked at something to comfort, not something to conquer."
Yeah.
And that was,
but
he has some good poetry sometimes.
But you think about some of those things. And I don't know. I think it's just maturing and growing up, and.
But don't you think it's a natural? Of course, you could say it's cultural and it's this and that, but I think that it's a natural, instinctual thing of men wanting to protect, or wanting to provide and wanting to protect.
Yeah, there's something in our DNA.
I think that's an
different.
Instinctual thing. And I think that in all societies and cultures, in some sense, you see, because man is the more physically imposing thing, it's either they're protecting and providing, or they're running amok.
I mean, even the,
you know what I'm saying?
If you go back and look at the Native Americans, I mean, the men were the hunters, and that's really what they did. They hunted and did that when they brought the game back, the women fleshed it out. The women turned that stuff into clothing. I mean,
there's providing, there's protecting, there's warriors.
Yeah.
Providing and protecting. Now, I see that and I understand. So it's like, women, us as men, being providers and protectors. Now, there's so much more of that's responsible of men, right?
Yeah.
Right, but that I think is an instinctual kind of primal combo.
I think so too, but I don't know that. But it's almost like it's something buried in our DNA that we are to do these things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's female police officers that, they're running towards the gunshots. They're not running away from them.
They are.
There's female firefighters that are running into the fire. They're not running away from it.
Yes.
So
and that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I'm not against that 100%. And then, so it's like, well, Ishmael, so then are you against women being on the front lines? I don't think they should be drafted to the front lines.
Yeah.
You volunteer the front lines. Hey, there's some women out here that are not, I'm not trying to box Clarissa Shields, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Okay, so there's obviously some badass warriors that are women. Right? Don't get me wrong, right? There's some badass warriors that are women. And shouldn't they be able to be warriors like their calling may be? Right?
But we do know that physically we're built differently.
And for the most part, right, that's why I'm like, for the most part, that's why I don't think a woman should be in the draft, or we should be expecting women to be on the front lines. But for those women that are just badass warriors, right, and, they can run the town with anybody, then okay, bet.
Well, and that's
go out there and,
again, Pandora's box is open a little bit, and I think that's why we shouldn't have changed the standards within military, police, fire, whatever they were. We shouldn't have had to.
It's like a boy standard and a girl standard.
Yeah, or they just reduced them all because it's all the same sex now. So in the military, they changed what
is it like you used to have to do 15 pull-ups. Yeah. Now it's like you do 7.
Yeah.
But 15 pull-ups, now you should be able to do 15. Now, and you feel like, so if you're the woman supposed to be in combat, you're supposed to be able to do 15 then.
Yeah.
I think
if the
It's like because in battle, the dude ain't gonna be like, oh, well, I'm gonna take it down a couple notches.
Yeah. Oh, that's a female over there. I'm not gonna
take it down a couple notches.
I can see that's a woman, so I'm not gonna shoot her except in the arm, maybe.
No, it's I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna go hard.
Yeah.
So you could definitely argue that for sure. Then some people will say, well, do you need to be as strong or whatever? And then there's reasons why they say you do, right? Because you have to be able to carry a dude out of a battle, or you got to be able to,
well, even
do certain things.
Humping a rucksack with 65, 70 pounds on it, 10 miles.
What's a rucksack?
It's kind of like a big backpack.
Like the things that you see like the G.I. Joe joint.
Well, you look at, I've
never been an Army dude. My grandpa was in the Navy.
Take 25 or 30 AR clips and put them in your pockets and run 100 yards versus not having them in there. They probably only weigh a couple pounds a piece, but you're carrying 30 of them. You're carrying 60 pounds plus the weapon.
That's crazy. That's a lot. This guy's doing a lot.
Yeah, it's like, buddy carries, they do buddy carries for the same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be able to get somebody up out of something.
Yeah.
No, so I know we
got notes and everything, man. This is like
no, just on the SAS. This is all the stuff I got done.
Oh, work wise.
Yeah. This is work stuff, and then while I was working, I was listening to the SAS.
Should we segue to that?
I took some joints on SAS. Well, let's take some joints out, but I do want to get to the correspondence dinner too. Yeah, because that's crazy.
Let's do SAS first, then let's do the correspondence. So
drop me some SAS.
I did not watch 60 Minutes last night, but a really good friend of mine said, "Hey, did you catch it?" And I said, "Well, I caught some snippets of different things on it."
Shout out to the friend.
And so then I, of course, Googled it, and if I'm going to Google it, I'm going to watch the long version. His part was probably
40 minutes.
20 minutes. This was 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Yeah, 40 minutes.
So you got kind of the extended version, and
Oh, like, so online it was only 20, or excuse me, on the broadcast it was only 20 minutes.
So we got the extended.
Oh,
of
so
60
this
minutes.
is like double.
Because the 60 Minutes also had had Trump on there from the Correspondence Center too, and I did not get a chance to watch that. But anyway, and
Every time
and
I see
I-
a Trump interview.
I liked
It's like an
I
SNL
liked Ben
skit.
Sasse, and then some of the things that he was saying, or at least that we were hearing from the news media.
Okay.
I was like, man, I don't know what the hell
Okay.
is this guy's doing.
When?
and then-
When?
Oh,
When did you not like what he was saying?
well, like through some of the J6 stuff. I mean, he immediately had him guilty of everything, and I don't.
Yeah.
I struggled with that. And, at the time I struggled against some of the things he voted against that the Republicans were trying to do.
Yeah.
And now after watching this, Ben Sasse is really, he's really a conservative, really just a real conservative guy. And he's a Ronald Reagan, Lincoln Republican. And it was really interesting because, somebody said to me at first, they said, well, hey, that Sasse thing, it was kind of about, he's refound God now that he's dying. And I think there was part of that where, religion's become more important to him now that he's facing his maker at the end of the gates. But more than that, and he said it, the one thing about being in this position, truth is really matters, and it's kind of like, and it's easier now. You probably have the exact quote.
No, not that one. Not that one. Not that one.
But it was kind of interesting, and I thought his conversation or his comments on AI were interesting about that change of the economy, that it's coming. They said it's going to be good and bad, and he said it's going to be both, which is probably the same thing you probably could have said about Henry Ford coming up with, the first automobile. It's going to be good and it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the preface of it. So I then take this interview, I snip it, I send it to my kids, I sent it to Ishma, sent it to a couple other people and said, this was kind of interesting, and this is the extended version. I told one group, watch, I'd love to hear your comments. So Ishma did get a chance to listen to it today.
I did, because I was so blessed with some time in the office. Like, I was supposed to be meeting, going around, working on these different elevator components of different buildings. And the guy took a long time doing what he was doing, so I was just able to sit in the office, or not sit, but stand in the office at like one of these stand desks and just work. So it was beautiful. And I got to listen to the Ben Sasse, and I took a couple notes. And it's funny, I was laughing because a lot of the things that I think that you grimaced before about Ben Sasse were the things that I was going back and saying that, okay, these are things that I might have agreed with Ben Sasse on, right?
Yeah.
Now, so
opposites do attract, man. It's okay. We always have. That's why we try to meet in the middle of the road, right? Middle of the street.
It was so good. So I think that we've talked about January 6th before a couple of times, right? And I think that we both have I think have a lot of the same feelings of that we both I think we're on the same page if this was a manufactured event. In some way, it was a manufactured.
Parts of it were. Some of it I think was real, of some real interesting characters doing some really stupid shit.
When I mean in manufactured, I mean if they wanted to stop that, they could have stopped it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I mean about manufactured. Yeah. Meaning, like, the refs are controlling the game. Like, you're watching the fight happen and you're not calling a. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not calling the foul, so now it's going to amp up.
It's not quite like the WWE manufactured, but yeah.
And maybe it goes even better. Like,
yeah.
What's that called? Broadway manufactured. But anyways,
Yeah.
So we know that the habits of them are it's crazy. But so what is, to me, January 6th? Again, I always look at it from an outlook as if people who looked like me primarily would have, maybe not as fresh as a brother like me, but people that look like me
Dress more like me.
would have did this thing. And I just say that to be funny because but I know in actuality, it doesn't, really matter how you dress other than just you're fresh. But if people who look like me would have done January 6th, what the heck would have been the real outcome, right? Like, let's keep it 100 or keep it a buck. What would have been the outcome if people who look like me would have did January 6th? It wouldn't have got as far as it did. It would have been crushed. It would have been quelled. I don't even think they would have got up to a gate. And what I mean by that is when we see the pictures of people crawling over the thing of the gate, or I don't know why they were doing it when they were letting other people walk right in, right? So I don't know why these people were crawling over the gate because it was like fun. It was like they get caught up in the moment, I feel like, and there's like, let's all storm the thing, and people were just excited and a lot of endorphins.
Those are the things, though, that I look back and go, this was pretty manufactured.
Okay, so, and maybe there's that as well, right? 100%. But that manufacturedness, right? However it goes, does doing that mean you get the penalty for doing that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I'm saying like, because a lot of time the sentiment is the F around and find out, right? What I'm saying?
The interesting thing is, some of the people that were haranguing people in, at least from the extended tapes that we got to see, nothing happened to them.
Look, there's a lot.
It was weird.
Let's keep it real. Like there was a lot of weird inconsistencies, right? And I'm not saying that there wasn't. But for the folks that was, you know what I'm saying, having the nooses up in the joints and they're at the senators' places and even a lot of that, I feel like when I was first hearing it, it sounded real manufactured and sounded like people were exaggerating and things. But then there are some pictures where it's like, dang, people really are at their seats kicked up with nooses and things. And it's like, from the outside looking in, that's one thing, right? But to really be the person who, dang, that's my seat, that's a whole different thing, right? So I try to really be as sympathetic to that as possible and even more empathetic as possible for someone that's had like an attempt on my life, right? And I think about that, damn, that's like a real attempt on my life. Whether I'm finding it serious or not from the outside, right? I'm sure those people are finding it serious from the inside, especially because, a lot of these senators ain't about it. You know what I'm saying? These are Harvard kids, but you know what I mean? Like these are, what I'm saying? These ain't.
It's the same
These
piece.
ain't boxers.
It's the same piece, though, of my frustration with a lot of our politicians who have made this a career. And I don't think politicians was meant to be a career. I think Ben
and we're going to
Sasse
talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to talk about his views on that because that's another thing that I admire about what he was saying. But on this January 6th thing, the people who did those things, I think it's very safe to say, justice-wise, those people deserve lots of what we call punishment, even though we should be trying to do discipline, right? But we are going to punish those people like they should be punished. But they weren't held accountable. As soon as Trump got back, he let all those folks out.
Well, he let them out of... He pardoned most of them.
He did.
But for most of them, their lives were ruined.
Hey.
I mean, it's kind of like if you're...
Hey, they got book deals. They got podcasts. They going tough. I'm just saying a lot of those guys are going tough. But let's keep... I always go back to the fact of, I mean, I know so many people that face so many years in jail. I know a brother right now facing years in jail that really did not do nothing, literally did not do anything, right? But facing years in jail. But then you got people that literally were so dumb enough to go and have nooses in the.
Yeah, my biggest piece of the thing that I didn't like about the whole J6 and the people they arrested, the people they let go, was the time. Some of those people were in jail, charged, and hadn't had a hearing about it before they were released. I mean, 4 years they sat in jail and had no court proceedings at all.
And that's because of the terrorist stuff. Like for real though, like if you are an enemy of the state, like a terrorist now because of all the what's that? What was the beautiful bill after 9/11?
Yeah.
The Terrorist Act.
Yeah.
The Terrorist Act, right? Because of the Terrorist Act and the way that they've been able to literally like keep people in our concentration camps like Gitmo or in Guantanamo or
So,
or in Abu Ghraib and things like that. I'm saying, because if you're saying that you're a terrorist, then that's where that opens up that box. We talk about Pandora's
Yeah.
box to now it's to American citizens.
yeah, you apply
It doesn't
to,
matter.
They're applying it to everyone.
And that gets real dangerous, right? And so, again, that's one of those things where if you give up your freedoms for security, you have what?
Yeah.
Neither, right? And that,
And it's the
ain't that
problem.
Benjamin Franklin. It's
the
probably somebody before him,
problem we're facing right now. I mean, with the not funding, even the Secret Service, so those guys aren't getting paid. And they've been, what, 11, 12 weeks now?
Hey, sometimes you gotta, you know what I'm saying, work off your savings. That's just stupid. Pay people, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta just pay people, man. You gotta just keep it right, people. And I think as well, it hits different between, when you have some real integrity and it's like you don't feel right being in somebody's pockets, right? Like, how could you be a senator or be a lawmaker and feel right being in the American public's pockets like that?
Yeah.
Like, man, they're paying to protect people and to do these things. And
some of those, like the Speaker of the House, the minority leaders, all those people have Secret Service protections, and they're not paying them.
You would think that they'd be a little worried about it. You know what I'm saying? They ain't paying their wolves. They're going to get hungry. They might learn that they turn on them. Now, so that was one of the things that I think that takes courage. Of course, if you believe something, whether I believe in what you believe in or not, if you're believing in something, you're able to stand up against a whole different segment of your tribe even, to say, no, this is wrong, I think. And here's why I think it's wrong, right? Because I respect the peaceful transfer of power. I respect that so much that you're not going to give me any of that hoopla. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to fight this the right way. And it's kind of like the difference of when they say, hey, right now isn't the time to fight the speeding ticket, or right now isn't the time to fight
you're on the side
thing,
of the
right?
Yeah.
You're saying this ain't the time to fight it right now, right? Wait a second, get your stuff together, go to court, get your lawyer, use the legal system and do it the right way. And that's what, people from that conservative side, that right side, has always said, do it the right way, do it between the means. And then to see some of that base. And how many people was it? What, 500, 600?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a huge
was it a
number.
couple thousand? I don't know. But I'm talking about a couple thousand that then represent, or maybe it was more. Maybe it was 10,000. People think I'm silly right now. But I guess the people that actually invaded and got in trouble for invading, like how many people were actually convicted of something or had some type of punishment? You know what I mean? However it was, what I'm saying is I know that represents a small piece of that, but a lot of the people.
They had 1,500 to 1,600 arrests.
1,600 arrests. Okay, 1,500 arrested, which is still a good amount of people that were trying to, they say, actively take over the government.
1,200 had been convicted of various crimes, 460 imprisoned.
Okay, and Trump let go of all of them, didn't he? Man, Trump let them all go.
I think.
Which again, hey, there's so many people that cheer that on, right? But all I'm saying is I don't think they would cheer that on if it was the other side. And that's the thing that I have a problem with. And that's why I kind of liked how Sasse was able to say, look, if that was the other side, we'd be going crazy. Like, you can't storm the Capitol, bro.
Well, but it's amazing to me. So Trump to date, which has been, 5.5 years as president, he has pardoned or clemency axed 1,700 people. Joe Biden was president for 4 years. How many did Joe Biden pardon or clemency act?
I don't know. How many?
4,200.
Man, hold on, man. You gotta remember, Joe got a lot of people on his payroll. You gotta remember, like, Joe got a lot of favors to hand out, man. You gotta dish them out.
How many Barack have in his 8 years?
Oh, I don't know, a lot too, right? How many?
1,900.
1,900? I would have thought more.
I would have too, but he was there for 8 years.
But here's the thing too, like, you gotta really be strategic with Barack's time and years, because the way that this machine works, Barack could only do certain things, like destabilization of Africa. That was Barack's jam. That's where this whole conglomerate of powers, right, could do something that was really made to look like it was for the positive of the world, but really was for the negative and dismay of Africa. But that being said, like, those are the type of things that I try to remember, is that each presidency, when they're happening and how much I want to not like somebody's presidency, I try to think about what it meant in the grand scheme of things to the big corporations or to the big people that were really running the show from a financial point of view. Because we know who controls the purse really controls the game, you know, in so many ways.
And they're not even always Americans.
No. So it's just whoever controlled the purse at that time. So I dig it and I get it.
But when you look at Trump, 1,500 of them were J6ers. So he had 200 other.
And one was Lil Wayne and one was Kodak Black and, ooh, baby just got us more fruit. And one was, there's like a couple just like hip hop celebrities that it was like, why is Trump pardoning hip hop celebrities? It's like, whatever though. That's all cool. He was listening at least. At least somebody was listening to these hip hop celebrities.
So it was only 200 total outside of the J6ers.
200 heavy hitters, I wonder. I would like to see the list. I know that he pardoned a lot of these fraud guys. These most recent fraud guys. I mean, he gave a lot of fraud. I have a list full of names. I think I gave a lot of them.
Well, and there was a lady. You
don't want to hoop with me ever, though, huh? But you want to go to the Y, huh?
There was a lady that he pardoned, and he kind of made her like the pardon czar, so that all of these pardons she actually looked through it. And I can't think of her name.
There was. I mean, I agreed with a couple pardons, just like any other president. But so, like there was that one mom that was kind of like against Planned Parenthood or something, I think, and then she got in trouble, and then she had, she got pardoned. I thought that was, anyways. So another thing was, the way that he was standing up against Trump, and I know him and Trump kind of had some wars or whatnot. It seems like, but Trump has wars with everybody. But one thing that I guess that I don't like is
he's a bully.
Well. Peep this, right? If a man talks about your wife publicly, calls her out of her name publicly, I don't know. Are you that much of a better person than then just be like, you know what, I can just sidestep that and I can now support and rock with this dude?
I don't know.
Are you that big of a man, Pops?
In today's politics, it's gotten so uncivilized. I mean, to me, it's like, so they talk about Trump like he's another race, the orange man.
Okay.
They talk about him.
Okay.
Pretty much so. I truly believe that if he came out and said, hey, we have the cure to cancer, that the Democrats would scream, can't take that drug. It's going to kill you. He can't cure cancer. This is bullshit. You can't believe the 10,000 people he saved already because it's just fake. It's got to be.
Sure.
It was like the vaccine.
Yeah,
I don't take the vaccine. Don't take the vaccine. Trump did, and then it wasn't.
The next day, it was okay when it was when it was Biden.
And it wasn't okay. It was mandated. If you don't take this, we're going to fire you.
Yeah, there was a lot of that before and after. 100%.
The hypocrisy within our politics, it has. I can't think of the last time it was really for the people. 100%. Every decision was made for the 100% betterment of the United States of America.
Really quick though, can you give me I can give multiple examples, easy off the cuff, right, where Trump has called public people, upstanding public people, crazy crap. I'm talking about like dog face uglies or, you know what I'm saying? Or how he talked about even like Rosie O'Donnell or da-da-da. Now look, I'm just talking about, can you tell me another politician or public servant that has ever been caught like just publicly just saying this stuff to people like it's okay?
Other than Trump?
Yeah. Other than Trump.
Rather than what they're calling Trump?
No, not the politicians though. I'm talking about the public or comedians, you know what I'm saying? That's what they do. That's how they make a living. They talk crap, right? Twitter people, yes. But I'm talking about real politicians. Like, what's his name? Rubio. Or, no, what's the guy with the like the penguin nose? The dude looks like the penguin to me. He's from Texas. He's from Texas.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh man, Trump calls his wife, you know what I'm saying, like a dog face, like ugly chick or whatever. But you got to.
yeah, I know you. But
what I'm trying to say is like that, like you never heard that man saying that about him.
no, I mean, but
no politician is saying these things like what Trump is saying. Is what I'm saying.
yeah,
like calling him out of his name or something.
So, is Trump a politician, or is he an entertainer that was elected to president?
Public servant. No, I feel you, but I'm talking about a public servant, right? He's a public servant. Now, hear me out. Reagan was an entertainer, right? He's an entertainer. He's an actor.
And he became
one of the best actors.
And became a public servant.
That's what I'm saying.
He was a governor first.
Right.
And then president. What
a freaking transition. But what I'm saying is a public servant. Like he took the role of like, okay, now, and I'm going to keep it real with you, right? All I know most about Reagan is after he got governor and then became president, you know, and the things that, you know, I know about history about that. I'm not even too keen on who he was before, if he was a brash guy or if he was just a nice guy always, whatever, or had the perceived to be a nice guy. I know much about him that would say no from other sources, but what he perceived to be, was he always like a nice, upstanding guy to the country, you know, as an actor? Was like the good guy?
Seemed to be, but we didn't have the internet then.
You're right. But I'm just saying.
I mean, it's no different than, you know, Trump. What award did he get from one of the presidents? He got an award for all of his minority work.
Trump got like an NAACP, a Freedom Award.
Yeah.
He got a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, right? He wrote Mike when he was in jail. He always liked Michael Jackson.
He was loved by the public until he ran for president.
No, 100%. I'm not saying that he didn't love, or excuse me, I'm not saying that he wasn't huge with black celebrities, right? He also did the New York 5 or whatever that too, right? He tried to get those boys killed when they really didn't do anything, which is crazy as well. But judgment to whatever. It's like Trump seemed to be like he was an equal opportunity hater. Like, you know, he just run through the gauntlet of whoever.
He's a
he doesn't first ask questions last.
Yeah, I mean he's not. He would be a guy with a handgun, not the guy with a long range rifle.
Sure. He just gets it. Now, what I'm saying is though, we just have never. He has broke the standard of like you know like the unwritten rules. Right, of baseball, like, you know, you don't do this, or like basketball, the unwritten rules. You don't, you know, there's 5 seconds left, you're up by 30, you don't go dunk the ball, right? Everybody gets mad when you do that.
So, and that's because he's not a politician.
Trump's like, no, there's still 5 seconds on the clock. I'm gonna go get 2 more points.
If I can score, I'm gonna score.
Right. Now, but I think what's wild is the people that give him a pass on that, right? Historically would be like, that's crazy. You don't do that. You know, you be humble about the game. You know, win the right way. Win with class, right? Hand the ball to the ref, right? And I feel like Trump is the exact opposite. But for some reason, something in people's heads embrace that. Like they've always wanted to embrace that or something.
Well, I think
so now they can.
I think he is saying publicly and out loud on a stage what a lot of people have thought for a long time about certain things. And that has given him a huge pass. I mean, like him saying, it's stupid. Why the hell do we send millions and millions and millions of dollars to these countries that want to kill us? Why do we do that? That's just stupid. No politician ever said that. They kept that quiet, hidden, and kept sending our money there.
I would like to hear politicians say, people in other countries want to kill us because we destabilize and bring havoc and terrorism to their countries. Right? That's what I would love to hear a politician say.
Yeah.
But instead, the other way it's like that.
Well, because what do we do? What do we do?
It's that attention center where it's like, that's fun to hear.
We start off by sending them money to try to destabilize it. And then we end up using guerrilla warfare and maybe even end up in an all-out war to try to get a regime change, which we suck at. And then when it's done, what do? We send them more money. Forever.
You know what a soldier said the other day that I was listening to? He said, I realized that I was only in the Army because they offered me socialism while I was out there fighting for capitalism for everyone else. Like, he joined the Army so he can get health care, education, and a check to be able to live in retirement. And he's like, shit. You know, like, I joined the Army for socialism, and I'm out here fighting for capitalism or fighting for this different type of, or fighting against socialism as well.
And multiples of those same people that do that, what do they do when they get out? They put their 20 years in, they retire from the military, and then they go to work either for the government or for a contractor and build additional retirement, which is okay. I mean, they
But even just regular soldiers, like, you know, like people that don't make it up the chain and they just get out and they just live in their regular life. Most people say that people don't like the VA. A lot of people be hating on the VAs.
I think the VA is much better.
It's getting better nowadays.
Way better now than Trump's first term, he changed the VA a lot.
I'm just saying in general.
For the right thing.
In general, it seems like people get mad about like the slowness of the systems and the VA and all these things. And it's like, I guess what I'm saying is a lot of people, there's so many different organizations that I've seen or that I've gotten calls from that say, hey, help us out. We need help getting a leg for this person that stepped on an IED. Oh, this is for, the sons of fallen soldiers. Oh, this is for da-da-da. Now, what I'm saying is this. All I'm saying is, I know some of those things can be a scam or whatever, but there is a need out there. And obviously there is a need out there. We know there's a need. And that being said, it's like they're being promised socialism and they're getting a crappy version of it while fighting for capitalism. But some people would probably say, no, Ishmael, they're getting a really good version of it.
Well,
and maybe some soldiers would say it's really great.
Yeah, this is probably a whole nother topic for a whole nother podcast. Where has socialism worked out for all?
That's a very good question. And a lot of people ask that. And I heard the other day, this person said, okay, many times you hear the question, give me an example where socialism has worked. And then the person says, okay, give me an example where it's had that opportunity to work without outside derailment or influence. And then it's like, that's tough because geopolitics is always going to happen, right? There's always going to be some outside influence. So for example, you want to say capitalism. Give me an example where capitalism has worked. And a lot of people would give you examples and say, and that is in spite of outside influence. Because there's always outside influence, right? But who has the advantage of being the biggest player? So for example, America's the biggest player. So if we want to say that our society has worked the best, right? And if I want to proclaim that,
well,
I'm just saying, let's just say I want to proclaim that our society has worked the best, right?
Okay.
Which I don't think is a hard thing to proclaim because there's a lot of people that would agree, right? That the American society in general has worked the best in prosperity and advancement, poverty things.
Only during our poverty is rich in a lot of countries.
I've understood that.
I mean,
100%.
you've seen it.
I've understood that. In many places, I've understood that 100%. And that's hard to wrap your head around a lot of times. It really is.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, what the heck was I talking about?
Capitalism, socialism.
Capitalism, socialism. That being said, if America always being the biggest player, we've always had the most influence and the least influence in us.
Not always.
Since
World War I was somewhat. World War II is when we.
World War I.
World War II, we really
we're the guys.
Became the guys.
But really, can you say since since 1913, 1919? No. I mean, Industrial Revolution, we were kicking ass, right?
Yeah, but
people were poor and ugly.
But I mean, that was a huge
lot of disease.
That was a huge transformation. From the industrial, when we became the industrial world, we took, 3-4 kids that were Irish settlers or whatever settlers that were going up on a farm. Well, only 2 of us are going to be able to eat if we do this. So the rest of us went to town and got jobs.
I feel it. But since the time that the 1900s, has America really had a time where people were very much being able to influence us so much? Whether we meddled or did whatever we did, I mean, like, you know, like, was Europe, was Spain really influencing what America was doing after 1910?
You don't think,
Or,
you
know,
don't think that prior to World War I or World War II and post World War II during the Vietnam War, when we had a lot of communist activity in the United States, you don't think other countries were trying to influence our population?
Of course, there's that happening, right? Of course, there's that happening. I guess I just don't. Maybe am I undermining this?
Well,
of like what type of effect that
we're also
the rest of the world has had on America compared to America on the rest of the world.
And you know, and we're also up until probably 1990 is when we really started getting really live information from the coast. And you could probably back it up to the 50s. We got some from television, those that could have a television. Prior to that, we didn't get much for information of what was happening all over. You know, our republic, the founding fathers were hoping it could last a generation. Here we are, like 250 years later, man.
I know that's what your boy says, but peep this. Since the 1910s, 1913s and stuff, was there something of the United States of America territory that somebody else was taking or at risk of taking, or a real influence? Is somebody else really influencing our elections? Was there a coup that somebody else started, and then all of a sudden, instead of having this president, you know, like FDR's president, no, a coup starts from over here, and now
you don't think the assassination of JFK was a start of wanting to be a coup that got killed?
I mean, if we want to get into JFK, then I would say it's the same thing of, you know, the MLK, the same CIA that did, you know, Fred Hampton and, you know, Malcolm and all of them. That being said,
I think our 50s.
I don't think that that's Russian. I don't think that that's, you know what I'm saying?
You don't think any of that had any communist backing or
like the CIA having communist backing?
Oh, absolutely.
I guess no, I didn't think about the CIA having communist backing, because I guess I forgot that at the whole time they're all on the same team. Is that what we're saying right now?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I mean, I didn't live during that time.
Are we real 1984 right now?
When I go back when I go back and look at some of the history and some of the things, and you start looking at the dots, you're like, how much of this is real? I mean, it's like when you talk to people about, did we really land on the moon? I mean, yeah, that's become a bigger and bigger global, you know, I mean, you can boil the ocean and look at things.
See, Pops, look, man, I'm trying to talk.
I know.
I'm trying to talk about the separation of capitalism and socialism. And then you just drop on us that maybe the CIA it's all the same anyway. Like the communists behind the CIA, this is all the 1984 scheme of, like, you know, the public has to feel scared. We have to be against something. And so now it has played out into now people are legitimately mad at each other, saying that, oh, I'm a socialist, oh, I'm a capitalist within the country.
Yeah.
And they're mad at each other.
Well, and to me, the scary part is that the mass movement to socialism is our younger folks who don't remember Soviet Union. They don't remember Tiananmen Square. They don't remember.
Does socialism have to mean totalitarianism?
Where hasn't socialism slid into communism and totalitarianism? Where hasn't it slid there?
Now, how, and I think that people have to appreciate the difference of control. And what I mean by that is, when I want to say that here, this is very interesting. This may be the best podcast.
This could be a long.
This might be a best podcast. No, this is good. Okay, so the difference of control. What I mean by that is, in America, how we think that we're free. And I say I'm very free, right? But there are certain things, of course, that I can't do, laws I can't do, right? And we've seen many experiences where justice just isn't just. That being said, I feel like there's always a movie that then could be made about me, or you can do a protest about me, right? Or you can maybe try to get on local news about it, even if it's very unjust or to do something. But like I've said, I think in other countries where you literally would just disappear and it's over. Like I'm talking about, you just disappear, it's over. Like there's no news, there's no protest, there's no, oh, the family wants to protest, your family's just disappeared. Right?
Have you heard about these 7 scientists that have just disappeared in the United States? So that's
okay, so you're right. So you're right. I mean, so I can see.
And other people that have just disappeared in our country.
Okay, so you're right. So that's what I'm saying. Like so there's a thing of degree of freedom or that degree of betterment in governments that we have, right? So we're saying totalitarianism, where I'm saying like, no, in these other countries you can just disappear. But then you're just like, well, hey, shite. Right here in this capitalistic system of freedom, democracy, we vote, right? We choose our leaders.
We have a lot of freedoms. We have.
But you can still disappear.
Well, you can still disappear. And when we talk about freedoms.
That's tough.
Do we ever own our home?
No, yeah, I know we talked about that.
I mean,
too. I talked to my kids, the teens, about the 20%, right? That was a real fun discussion with the young ones talking about.
We are a very free, open society of things moving. We have lost a lot of freedoms since we started collecting taxes.
But that capitalism to socialism, that slipping into totalitarianism to where like, hey, that iron fist rule, and you can't say anything or you can't say the wrong thing, right? I know there's levels to it, right? But there's still levels to it.
Well, there's just like
like we can have this podcast and I can say Trump is crazy. I truly think he's crazy, right? But I can't say that in some countries about the president.
No,
right?
but and so we've tried to rebrand this again.
What do you mean?
We're trying to call it democratic socialism.
Okay.
And they're saying, it all has to be equal. There's no such thing as equality across the board. Now, equality of opportunity, I think we still have more of that in our country than we have anywhere else in the world. But equality of everyone making the same money, everyone living in the same house, everyone buying the same groceries, even if we did that, is the guy in charge doing that same thing? Or is the guy in charge living a little bit nicer life, having a little security around him? Mm-hmm. So there is none of that. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that I think the greatest thing about the United States is our equality of opportunity. Now, even though some folks have a better opportunity than others from where they've started, most of our billionaires didn't start off as billionaires. And where I was talking about taxing the billionaires, well, Bill Gates had a great start in life. Didn't come from a poor, impoverished family. But they weren't billionaires.
True.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk did come from, that dude's dad owned emerald mines on the backs of slaves. But that being said, but
they were divorced.
But his pops gave him, a couple million for a startup too. That's just nice cushion. I'm not saying he didn't parlay that into a lot of money, because he did, but, right? A lot of people take $1 million bucks and blow it.
Yeah, well, and
so don't get me wrong.
He
But they were allowed to play offense, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like they could play offense, and that's beautiful for them. I'm not hating on that. And it's hard for me as well to say that there is another place that has maybe more opportunity in general, right, than America, right? Now, when it comes to equal opportunity, of course, I can sit here until I'm blue in the face and talk about different levels of equality. But that being said, again, still, there's a reason why so many people want to come to America.
And like
there
I
is
said,
a reason why people try to get here.
Our equality.
And if you haven't figured out, you better get you some of that money.
I mean, our equality has been equality of opportunity. I mean,
Again, not everybody has that. But what I'm saying is,
well, not everybody has the drive for that.
there's that as well. There's that as well. But you can parlay a lot more opportunity in America than you can in other places. Just in general, you can get it at America.
Well,
in America, you can get it.
look at athletically.
And I mean, athletically, it's tough. I don't even like to. I just look at business wise, like entrepreneurially. You can find a need and go fill it in America. You really can. And you don't have to be special. You don't have to have amazing skills, but you can find a need, you can fill it, and you can make a living. You can make a savings in America. I truly do believe that, right? Are there certain factors that'll make it, like, let's keep it real, right? Are there still certain factors? Of course, there's certain factors, racial, there's certain factors, discriminatory, there's certain factors misogynistically that are going to make different things. But I do think that in America, still, I would say to your assertion that America still has the most opportunity in the world. Now, again, I haven't been everywhere. I heard you can go to what's the Abu Dhabi or Dubai. Go to Dubai. I heard Dubai got all the opportunity in the world, but I don't know. I haven't been there. But no, I feel it. I want to talk a little bit too. I want to get back to my man Sasse, but on the White House and the Trump thing still, going back, the correspondent dinner thing happened, right? Trump, the shooting happened. Now, you mentioned something that I didn't even understand or realize, right? So Mr. Jimmy Kimmel, he says before the thing, I don't like
Couple days
Jimmy
before.
Kimmel. Okay, a couple days before. And I don't like
And
Jimmy
I don't
Kimmel.
watch him either. I just saw the snippets.
Here's the thing. I used to watch Jimmy Kimmel, right? Because he used to have, it was kind of like, as a musician, to be on Jimmy Kimmel, I felt like it was my eras when I was in that era of being a young musician. It was in my era of being on the like the Sullivan Show.
Yeah, late night show, yeah.
Or being on like, what do you call it? Who was always putting people on?
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson show, or,
Ed Sullivan was huge.
Yeah, like the Sullivan Show. I thought, like, isn't he the guy brought out, what I'm saying, the Jackson 5 and stuff?
Yeah, and he was the one that, and they brought Elvis out. They could only shoot him from the waist up. So he's dancing.
So that type of stuff, it was like, it was like kind of the precipice of doing a late night television show to have, people. So we used to, even before we used to start a rehearsal, we used to say, saying, okay, this one's like we're on Jimmy Kimmel, right? To hit this song perfectly. And so I used to watch Jimmy Kimmel. I used to watch the monologue and everything, okay? And then, of course, he got real, I think just weird about a couple subjects, especially about like bodily autonomy when it came to vaccines. But aside from that, he's a comedian, right? He's a comedian. So I have to like...
Allegedly.
And I also didn't realize that I knew Jimmy Kimmel. I'd already had this like brain mind F from Jimmy Kimmel from The Man Show, right? Because when I was a kid, it was like a young adolescent. You watch The Man Show really just like hormonally trying to see like girls in bikinis to keep it real. That's why I was watching The Man Show at night. And Jimmy Kimmel was on The Man Show. I didn't really register that. So it's like I think like subliminally like, oh, Jimmy Kimmel, okay, cool. I'm watching Jimmy Kimmel, right? So then, and it's crazy. Like I think we've talked about this before. You got to start with The Man Show, and then he became like all this against misogyny, which is cool. I'm glad you turned a leaf, whatever. However it goes. Then Jimmy Kimmel, I try to take what he's saying from the same standpoint as I would take what like Cat Williams says, right? Like this dude is not just a comedian, excuse me, but he's a comedian.
Well, he's went to more political satire than just being a comedian.
Definitely. Well, that's I feel like late night has turned totally
Oh, yeah.
political satire, and it didn't used to be
No.
that politically charged. The late night,
No.
like the Jay Leno and the David Letterman. I feel like they take like these little like really easy nudges,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
not.
and
They
even
weren't just outright blazing,
yeah.
killing. These
And even
folks.
Johnny Carson. I mean, there'd be some little pokes, but it
It's
wasn't
just little
it
fun
wasn't-
pokes.
it wasn't an overhand knife.
Oh man, I mean these guys are bulldozing people. I mean coming with the wrecking ball. I mean I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean that's how they hit each other. No joke. Now, but that's how I see Jimmy Kimmel. I see him as a comedian, right? And so anything he says, a comedian. Now, Trump is old as he's old, right? He's 80. What?
He just turned 80.
He just turned 80. Okay,
so.
he looks older than 80 now. His first term, he looked a lot better.
Well,
I know the presidency put a lot on
you
you.
can look at Barack, man. Barack was a pretty young man.
I'm trying to tell you, the
he looked
presidency
pretty
will
old.
put a lot on you, bro. And so Trump looks like, I mean, you know, like how Tom Osborne just looks old. You know, that's how Trump looks to me. He just looks old. You know what I mean? And Tom Osborne is a dude I like. You know what I'm saying? Like having a, you know, I have a natural good feeling for Tom Osborne because of the championships and things, right? But Trump, I'm just saying, he just looks old. But
Today.
What is
Oh,
his
no,
birthday?
that's as of 20.
I
He's
mean, he better
79
not
years
be
old.
his
He's
birthday.
79.
Oh, he's 79? Okay. So, but, you know, so when he's saying he's going to die in a couple of days or get shot in a couple of days, right?
Flight
I
day.
could chalk that up to just being like, oh, look, he's just saying he's old, right? Like, obviously, Melania's going to be a widow pretty soon because dude is old, right? That's kind of like the thing, like the young girl, the young model marries the old rippling dude just to get the money, right? I mean, that's, you know, classic joint. That's why Melania's with Trump. Or no, is she really in love? I mean, I don't know her life. I'm just keeping it true. Anyways, but a lot of people, I see how they could take that and be like, what, conspiracy? He knows what's going to happen. He knows this is all a Hollywood plot or ploy. Wouldn't Jimmy Kimmel, was he trying to drop an Easter egg? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know,
Is
man.
Jimmy Kimmel in on this?
as he said
Like,
it.
you know what I'm saying? Is Jimmy Kimmel in on the whole?
Yeah, so T.O. is 10 years older than Trump.
Who's
Tom Osborne.
Oh, big old T.O., man. That's my guy, bro. Shout out to T.O. He's such a nice guy.
Oh,
Even though he's one guy that even though I'll disagree vehemently about something about, like politically, so like, man, but he's such a nice guy, man. Good
Well-
old Tom, man. He's just a good guy. He go visit people, just a good human of a human, you know. I don't care what, you know.
he did stuff when it wasn't cool to do.
Yeah, he's a human of a human, just saying, right?
Yeah.
He's a human of a human.
He genuinely cares about
He
people.
cares about people, you know.
Which is why he didn't last very long in
cares about people.
in politics, because he's like, you can't get anything done here.
And you know how he's so against sports betting? It's for a good reason why he's against sports betting, right? He's like, this is a deterioration of society. People are spending time away from their families and they're, you know, caught up at the casino all day. People are losing their life savings. And I get it.
I mean, you see it. I mean, you and I like going to the casino.
Yeah.
And when we walk through there, you can pick out.
The guys that are hurting.
Yeah.
The guys that are.
I mean, they're there
It's the
spending their
last-
Social Security check, putting in their last $10,
That's messed up.
and then going putting money on a credit card to continue. I mean, it's just crazy.
Oh, I'm sure. But I think that he's also, you know, it's real tough because you could talk about that with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with alcohol, you can talk about it with anything, drugs. People have their vices, and some people can
So
drink champagne at the function, and some people will get blackout drunk.
it's no different than the mob made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars when alcohol was illegal.
Oh yeah.
And they were making millions and millions and
Bootleg.
millions of dollars when gambling was illegal.
Yeah.
What are numbers?
Yeah.
Same thing with the drug trade in our country. I mean, you know,
In Denver, is there a such thing as a weed man anymore? Like,
well,
for real. Or
mean,
like in KC or something like that. Like, is there a weed man anymore?
allegedly,
Is there a
there's
weed man?
more.
More weed men?
Yeah, because
Houseway.
they can buy it cheaper because they're not having to pay the tax.
Who does? Oh, what, from the folks? You can buy it cheaper.
You can buy it, yeah. Then going into the dispensary.
I don't know. I don't know.
Allegedly.
Yeah, look, people are probably afraid to drop it in there. If you're from Denver, drop if you can get a bag of weed cheaper in the dispensary or on the streets, and you know what's in it, you know the grade, you know what's popping. I mean, seriously though, like you know what happens, like when there's a lot of something around, man.
When there's
it's just hard to get it.
When there's something that is taxed or perceived overtaxed, there's an underworld to get by of paying that tax.
This is true, but I think that on this thing, it's just so, I mean, it's so low. It's like, man, like nobody has a chips guy. Like I'm talking about like a potato chips guy. Like you don't have a potato chips guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I think because it's just potato chips are just so cheap. I mean, I really think it's gotten to that type of a point to where like seriously, for example,
to make a good quality liquor,
yeah,
you couldn't do that. So that's where they ended up buying it from distilleries.
Yeah.
So what's taken the biggest hit in the last 5 years since more and more weed has become legal?
Oh, liquor.
Liquor is actually
People
doing
hate
okay.
it.
Beer is getting killed. Wine is getting killed.
They say alcohol in general is down like 50% in like most segments.
But most liquors
are
bourbons
still
and those type
okay.
things are
Still
doing
kinda,
okay.
if you drink, you drink.
I mean, wine and beer is getting killed.
It's just the casual beers and casual wines are now casual joints.
I just watched this. It was a 3-part documentary on Netflix, I think it was, and it was about alcohol, gambling, and prostitution, I think.
Oh, shucks.
Sex. And how those trades have changed over the years. It was really interesting.
Well, regulation usually brings about some sort of more safety. And
then you go to the vaccinations with the FDA.
Right. But so then you go to the Food and Drug Administration. You're like, well, has that became more safe? Well, initially, was it more safe to have like, for example, like the like how they used to do ice cream licks?
Ishmael, you know where the pharmaceutical business started?
Oh.
The oil companies.
Oh, 100%.
Standard Oil, man.
100% because they had to stop all the real medicines that really worked.
Well, they had to figure out what they were going to do with the rest of this oil because they only could use so much of it. They were throwing away 30% of it, 40% of it.
Well, wasn't even more? I thought they were only using 30%.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. But it's like So they had to do something with it. But what I mean is, like the good meaning people, right? The people that were seeing like kids get, very bad sicknesses from the ice cream man that were reusing the salt lick, or the ice cream licks, I guess that they were called. Mm-hmm. They literally like everybody lick the same spoon and do some crazy stuff. And so there had to be standards. There had to be standards of how you had to bottle things so you didn't give people crazy bacteria and things.
You know where the bottling actually really came from? Because that was on this thing, the bottling.
Where's that?
Milk.
Because of all the bad stuff that was happening in milk?
Yeah, so they could bottle
the bottling and the pasteurization and stuff?
They could pasteurize the bottles to have them clean. So then the next thing that happened was Budweiser. This was kind of a cool part of this thing. Not to take
Really?
So Budweiser, who Bush's father-in-law actually owned this, put him in charge of it to make money. So he figured out how to have refrigerated cars to send kegs all over the country, coast to coast.
Yeah.
And then they found out that the bars were watering down their beer. So their beer looked like this, and the beer they got from Arizona watered down.
Sure.
That's why they came up with bottling, single use, and then they could repasteurize those bottles to refill them so that their quality of their beer was the same all the way across, and their profit margin and their margin stayed the same.
Consistent. And they had that blue magic.
So it's kind of interesting.
Package my shit.
It was kind of interesting.
No, 100%. 100%. So, but I do understand how a lot of those things could be rooted in wanting to be safer for the public, right? Because of bad things happening. And the same thing you could say for drugs, right? Like you want them to be safer for the public. For example, if you want a Tylenol, you want a certain amount of, say the word, the A word that makes everything numb.
Acetaminophen, something like that.
I feel like Trump's trying to say that word. Acetaminophen. But if you really want to do that right, well, if you get a pill that has 500 milligrams instead of 200 milligrams, that's a big difference.
Oh yeah.
Right? And if you take 3 of those thinking that it has 200 milligrams, that could be a fatal difference. Or I don't know how much it takes to be fatal.
I'm not going to blast this out trying to
why
promote
not,
it.
man? It was
But
good.
that's
The
it.
booze,
It's the booze, bets, and
sex.
sex that
booze,
build
bets, and
America.
sex.
It was
That
a
sounds
really
dope.
cool documentary.
I
I
might
think it was
check
a
that out.
3-section. I think it was about 5.5 hours, 6
When you
hours.
got 5.5 hours on a plane ride, check it out.
Well, this one here was the other one that I've been watching, The Man Who Built America Frontier.
Nice hat.
That was kind of interesting too. And it actually got into a lot of some of the really shitty things that we did with the Native Americans.
Oh no, I don't want to watch that. I'm so
But
tired.
then it was the first part of it
Sad songs.
was how we really partnered with them and stayed on the East Coast with that. Well, then once we started heading west, it got ugly.
Oh man, it's tough. So no,
but
that's
anyway.
dope. No, that's dope. We have to check that out. But that's really what I mean.
When
is,
you're retired, you got time to do that.
right? I dig it, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna get with you pretty soon. So, but seriously, I really do understand where a lot of people's good intentions want to be, right? But then, of course, most times those good intentions get taken over by money. And I think that cycles back into the capitalism versus socialism thing, is where so many people have good intentions one way or the other. But then once money and power gets involved, it gets a lot different most of the times.
It's no different than what's the political saying the Democrats use a lot now. It's no good. I don't remember what it was now. No tragedy goes unwon or something like that. Basically, you can
Like you kind of politicize every
politicize
tragedy.
after every tragedy and to make political points.
You know?
But circling back to Ben Sasse,
Yeah, Ben Sasse.
who I mean, I wish I could think of the exact words he used, and maybe you've got them noted. But when he talked about his sickness and, the end of that, the guy was pretty straightforward. He said, this is a pretty straightforward cancer or question, but, basically how long you got and what's your cancer? And Ben Sasse says, well, started off really bad to get on a better drug, but I have 5 kinds of cancer now.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't like, my wife and I were talking about this the other day about somebody else actually. I don't think that you should be able to tell someone, I think it should be illegal to tell someone how long they're going to live. I really truly do believe that's a self-fulfilling prophecy type thing too, is telling somebody how long they're going to live. I think it's a really, really shitty thing to do. And I don't think it's,
Well, I think how long,
I just don't think it's accurate either. What
it's
I mean,
a guesstimate.
yeah, but I think it puts something in a person's head too, where like once you give up as a person, you give up.
Well,
I mean, this is true. Like once you still have some belief, some hope, some fight in you, there's still a lot that happens.
some people continue that all the way through. I mean, look at Magic Johnson. He was given a death sentence. Magic was given a death sentence when he was diagnosed with AIDS. Look at him today.
HIV. He didn't really ever say he had AIDS.
Yeah,
he just said
had
HIV.
HIV.
He had HIV. Now,
But even at that was kind of a kiss of death back
thank
then.
you, Mr.
And that's been a
thank you,
long time.
Mr. Fauci. I mean, but I'm just saying, like when these terminal cancers, and I know what people are saying. I get what the doctors are doing. Of course, we've heard miraculous things where people have, done different things and things. I just don't like it. Now, what really struck me about Mr. Sasse, again, I've never been a fan of Mr. Sasse, right? I actually I was like, I'll take Ben Sasse's job. But Ben Sasse, I love where he said, like the best way to make a difference in your community is to go serve, right? He's like, go coach, go be he gave a few examples, right? Where, it's like, go be, your action worker, go and volunteer to church, go and do these different things.
Talk to your neighbor,
serving people, go
get involved
actually
close.
serve. Oh, he's like, go shovel somebody's lawn, like go, go rake some leaves or something, like, do something. But basically he took that go serve into, I like the message of
Community service.
anybody can serve, like that real serve, like go serve, right? I like that a lot. What I'm saying is that really was that go serve. And then of course, it struck me when he said, he's like, hearing a man dying and you get to hear a man's real regrets And he didn't say them like regrets, because it sounds like he's just accepted that he's going to die, which is just weird as well, I think.
But
I think it's weird to like just be thinking about it.
Have you accepted that you're going to die at some point?
Not in the next few months.
No. But I mean,
that's different.
Death is inevitable.
Different.
But everybody has an expiration date, and his just happens to be a little bit more known because of a disease.
But see, and that's why I don't like the more known thing. But yes, but what I'm saying is it's different to hear from a man that really thinks that he's going to die very soon.
So
right?
If somebody really close to you, I'm going to use this as an example. Yeah. Papa John was diagnosed tomorrow with terminal cancer and was given 6 months to live.
Yeah.
Would you try to spend more time with him in the next 6 months, or less, or the same?
So that's weird, because terminal, right, is different. I guess I haven't had terminal. Grandma Lois, they definitely, said that she was going to die, right? Like soon, right?
I remember.
That's how it was perceived to us. Okay. Whether I guess someone exactly said that or not, I guess I didn't hear that of a horse's mouth, but it seemed like the reports I was getting that it was going to happen. And I think even she believed that at one time. That being said, right, did I rearrange my schedule to be there, every day or something, or like really, really, really frequently? I didn't. I saw her when I did. And things. Now, again, I understand what you're saying. Like, it's like, well, man, it's so nice to be able to, right? Like you see a hurricane's coming. I want to know 6 weeks ahead rather than it just hit me and it's a day at night, a day out.
And for some,
and I don't do all these things I could have did, right? Okay, I got 6 months. I better do some shit. I better get things in order. I better see family. I better love on family. 100% right.
Well, and for some people too, just for them to get their affairs in order so they don't leave a complete mess.
Yes.
For their survivors.
Yes. There's all that. There definitely is all that. I just do think that there's this component in the head to where if you believe what this man is saying, that there's almost nothing now that your body can do to convince now to get over what's happening. Well, it's very hard if you believe that man, which most people do.
Well, and obviously Ben did, and then volunteered for this experimental drug that he probably wouldn't have volunteered for if he was not given a bad prognosis. Sure. He probably went normal channels.
Maybe there's that for sure.
So I think there's reasons, and everybody deals with news differently.
Yeah.
I mean, we all process things differently. If they're emotional, if they're factual, it's like, some people, when they hear their kid got in a car wreck, mm-hmm. Some people react as, oh my God, I just bought him that new car. I hope it's okay. Mm-hmm. Other people react, man, I just hope nobody got hurt. Mm-hmm. How's the other driver? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot, the human mind, everybody's processes things differently. Mm-hmm. What one person does may or may not be right in my mind or in your mind, but that doesn't change how they process it.
Sure. So,
100%. I mean, I think knowing,
Sure.
I guess I'm
to some people it may help them.
I mean, I'm different in it, and me knowing, I'm just the type of person that's going to probably flip them off and say, "Yeah, I'll teach you." Tell me I'm going to be dead in 6 months.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you in 18 months.
Right, something like that. I dig it.
You get some people like that, and then you get other people that are like, 6 months, man.
They're like,
and they get so down that they're gone in 4.
3, 4. Yeah. I get it. And then you got the planners too. They're like, well, I kind of want to hear that and I want to get ahead of it and these things. So no, I dig it from a lot of situations.
If I didn't have everything already planned out, it would drive me crazy because I'm a planner.
See, I'm like, man, I just feel like, and it's just a personality thing. Yeah. It definitely is a personality thing for sure. Now, when he says, a thing that I think that we both love that we've talked about before is banning Congress from trading stocks, active trade. So Ben Sasse is a big proponent of that. He actually proposed a bill to ban Congress from trading stocks bonds. Now, why do some people in his party really even don't like this guy? Why the president not like this guy? A lot of people who are really cool at getting rich while in there, being able to stack the deck. He didn't want people playing dirty poker. I think sometimes I think, and again, people can be like, oh, he's just talking like this now because he's about to die, whatever. I tell you like this. A man doesn't have to say nothing first thing, right? He can be as prideful as he wants. Now, here's the second thing. When it comes
Nor
to
did he have to
Sasse,
do that interview.
No, not at all. Shit, he has limited.
He's got limited time, and he knows
time, and it take a couple hours with these fools. Who's like usually like a liberal media is what you could call them, right? Okay. Now, what Mr. Sasse says here, that I think some of the things that he stands for, I'm gonna be real with you, like when he says like this Reagan and this Abraham type government or whatever. Or
No. He said, I'm a Reagan and Lincoln Republican.
Okay. Now, again.
That doesn't mean that he believed everything.
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is, to me, still, right? Those policies, those type of politicians, those type of public servants, right? Because I'm the outlier. I'm the renegade. I'm definitely the rebel in this look on of those type of politicians or public servants are horrible for the public, for the actual tranquility of the state, of people actually getting equality and of opportunity, of people, and then people say, man, you're crazy, right? Abraham Lincoln, did the Civil War. Not for, I think, the reasons why most people think he did. And he would have did it the other way if it could have been that he could keep the nation together. I get it. But all I'm saying is I think that Sasse has these morals that he's proposing, right? That are, I think, better than the people that he's, I guess, trying to look up to. But, which maybe is what you're supposed to be, right? You're supposed to be better than your heroes, I guess. Yeah,
well, and I think, as he alluded to, he wished he could do a lot over, and that his terminal illness has brought him a lot of truth. So, which I think happens to a lot of people.
Truth, like you just don't care, like your pride, like you just don't care, or you see things from a more compassionate point of view.
You see things from, you're not sugarcoating things to try to win an election, to try to keep yourself popular, to try to do something. This is really where your core beliefs were the whole time. But maybe for his sake, as a politician, he couldn't say them out loud. Or for his church's sake, he couldn't say them out loud. Or for some other reason, he couldn't say them out loud.
100%, because it's so tough when you have obligations to other people, and your obligations may not be these devious things, right? For example, just like you said, your church. If you have obligation to your church to upstand in a certain way, you can't say or do certain things because you don't want them to be a reflection of the church, right? Mm-hmm. I a lot of times have found myself not being able to say or do certain things because I don't want it to be a reflection of a certain thing that I'm a part of at the certain time, right? So 100%, I get it.
Or your kids or something else. I mean,
it's. I get it.
There's lots of, I think, emotional, mental plays that happen with those situations. But I mean, like I said, I think he said it more than once during that was, it's a lot easier to be honest and truthful when you're kind of got a plan or the Lord has a plan for you.
Yeah, no, I dig it. Another thing, the term limits. He says 2 terms for Senate, 3 terms for the House. I think we were both all over that. All over that.
Actually, I think that's right.
He wanted here's the one that I think that is, these are things that he actually proposed bills for, right? He proposed bill to,
and that's something him and Trump have agreed on.
Some of this term limit stuff. Yeah. Trump. The Born Alive Medical Care Act, he was trying to do or something, right? For botched abortions, that the doctors have to give medical care to botched abortion babies. That is such a devious, dark thing to think about legislating.
And the reason I'm trying to legislate is because it happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hard problem for a legislative answer, but it's like you would think that's an easy one, right? Oh, save the baby, right? Right? Like, why do you need legislation to save a baby?
Where did our legislation, probably with the exception of tax, all of our legislation came to try to fix a problem. And I think part of the problem is that I struggle with is we keep adding legislation and not getting rid of any of the old stuff to try to morally or politically encompass people instead of just letting, I don't want to say punishments, but just letting things go their natural way and then using the punishments, adding more punishments, adding different punishments for different things to me is just ludicrous. I mean, I think it's crazy that we now have state laws that override federal laws. I agree with it. And if it's not in the Constitution, then the federal government should have nothing to do with it and let the states do it.
Yeah, that's a real hard one for me with a lot of things because, states' rights to me have always, it's really tough, right? Because the federal government in no way has been kind to the minority. But then again, the states' rights as well have trumped the minority as well. And a lot of times the minority, and a lot of times my view of the minority, right, is many times pertaining towards like the lens through a black man because of the historical, white supremacist precedents that have been set, whether it's been the state or the federal. So both have failed all the people, though, in lots of ways. That being said, it's really tough in the modern era of certain things to say that rural Georgia, should have the same laws as downtown LA. Federally, is it that hard or isn't it? Because I see it both ways from so many different things.
We just don't have. We are inconsistent. We'll have a federal law and then we'll let a state override it. But it stays as a federal law everywhere else where the state didn't change it. So the Constitution was that federal law overrode state law. Mm-hmm. But we've kind of moved away from that now.
It's just that the state law couldn't make a law that was going to be unconstitutional to the high Constitution. Each state's going to have their own Constitution, but you're not supposed to make a law that's supposed to go against the Constitution. That being said, it's tough because in the Constitution, just a little bit is tough because it gives that wiggle room and that loophole, right? Anything that we didn't explicitly say was our domain, that it goes to the states. And so it does give that. But I think people think too hard.
Well, but then don't have federal laws around these things.
But people think too hard, like the biggest federal laws you're supposed to,
use the war on drugs.
Okay.
States should have got to decide how people are prosecuted because that's ultimately where it's ended up.
Yes. I don't know. It's just, yes. It's very hard.
Immigration. We have these federal immigration
didn't do
laws.
It right. I get it. The feds didn't get it right. So, I can't argue here for the Fed because they didn't get it right.
Yeah. So we need to then, the people then need to force the federal government to get it done right or eliminate it because the states are going to take it over.
Yeah.
And I don't care which it is, but you can't have conflicting rules and laws.
You're right. It's tough. It definitely is tough to have conflicting rules and laws. Sometimes it works if you just turn the other way. If it really isn't that big in society, right? For example, I think the best example right now is like medical weed. Or just weed in general, just recreational weed. Recreational cannabis, right? It's federally, it was still a class whatever drug, and they've been moving it up and down.
It was class 3. They finally moved it down.
But then they just redid the Hemp Act or whatever too.
Well, they changed it all so that they can use it for. They changed it all so that they can can do medical testing.
But Trump just also like limited the scope of all like the THGs and Bs and Zs and stuff that they were doing to make this legal synthetic weed. However it goes, a whole bunch of stuff happening. The feds say no. The states are still doing it. States are doing it. States pass laws doing it, and they let their people have the real THC. Okay, it doesn't really hurt anybody from a mass point, is what I'm saying. Looking at the country, yes, you can make the same arguments about like the gambling thing or things, right? Like some people could abuse it. Every now and again, somebody's going to get really high, fall asleep at the wheel, right? Or, stupid shit's going to happen. That being said, for the most part, is that something where the federal government really needs to come in and say, no, the state, you can't do that? Now, a common sense issue to me is like, no, leave it alone. But I know other people feel really, really direly against that, saying that, they feel as direly against that as like I would against like slavery. Or, like some people's issues.
Slavery's
I know it's a huge one. I know it's a huge or no, but I'm saying some people act like this THC issue is slavery.
Yeah. I mean, it's THC issues, not human trafficking.
It's not. I'm so glad you said human trafficking too, Pops. You out here with the lingo.
Well, because
he going hard with the lingo. Okay,
I mean,
let's go.
Today,
I think the new kids would have hit you with this. They gave you a clock it. I think.
Well,
you officially got a clock it.
Slavery is part of our history. The slavery that we have today is far more around human trafficking and not around labor as much as it is around the sex industry and other things, which are just as horrible.
Yes, but what's wild is the human trafficking that was happening back then, which is human trafficking, had a even more horrendous sexual component.
Yeah.
It was a constant horrendous sexual component on top of a labor component. It was like, oh my God. I don't even like. Okay, we're not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to get into that. So let's
rabbit hole.
But let's go into what he says against some of the things that I really, really also I think had sometimes been against, Sasse for, right? I think were some of the same things that. Like the immigrations, a lot of things when it came to, he was against the First Step Act and things. And these are things that I think that I've came to realize that, he has a vision for the country. He has a vision for a destination that he was trying to get to, right? And how he was trying to get there, right, may be different. I think that what I mean is his vision, his picture of the country isn't exactly the same as mine. But I do think that what he wants are the same feelings and emotions as me.
The same outcomes.
Like, as I mean, is in safety, security, health, prosperity. He wants his kids to be happy. We all want those same things. Like, we all have this vague picture that's the same, right?
Yeah, and I don't think he wanted to become a career politician to do that.
I mean, he quit in the middle. He quit in the middle of the thing. I mean, there's nothing more saying I don't think I can... I think I do something better than quitting in the middle of it.
Well, and his analogy of that was, I spend a lot of time away from my family and not getting anything done in Washington anyway.
Hey, to say that too, to have the
confidence.
You know what I'm saying? Say, look, well, I wasn't getting shit done, so I had to quit. Wow. Like, I really respected that. I'd rather
spend more time with my family than beat my head up against the wall with these meatheads.
I really respected that.
I get it. And I think that's something that term limits would help.
Well, and you have to have a sort of humility about yourself to give up being a senator. I think the guy said it like there's so many people who their whole identity, their whole self is tied to being this senator, this type of prestige of being the senator. And he's like, I can throw this away. I don't need to be a senator. That doesn't make me, which I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I give big ups to.
But again, where he's at in his journey, and knowing that he has a closer destination than most 53-year-olds.
He said it's tough to know you're going to die in your early 50s.
Yeah.
That's freaking tough. I want to talk a little bit about the Southern Is
Yeah.
it Southern Poverty Justice League, Southern Christian Justice League? Help me out.
I'm gonna look.
It is the but it's one of the most historic, anti-discriminatory groups working towards equality and against the white supremacist structures and systems. It's famed for having some of the most famed civil rights activists within its midst.
I think that's right. League of the South.
It is. No. And also, here we go.
Southern Poverty Law Center.
Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yep.
So the federal grand jury charges Southern Poverty Law Center with wire fraud, false statements, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Between 2014 and 2023, the SPLC secretly funded more than $3 million in donated funds to individuals who were associated with various violent extremist groups, including the KKK, known as the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nations, and National Socialist Party of America. Now, what they were saying was essentially that
they were playing both ends.
Well, what the actual thing is saying, I read up on this because I want to know what the heck was going on. So you take donor funds and you plant informants or compromise members from these different organizations, and you give them money to be a mole in the organization. You continue to give them money in exchange for information. You even plant information or maybe even give them instructions and inspiration to start certain events. Even like a gathering, like they say at the Charlotte gathering, or certain things to incite and expose or bring about these different white supremacists and these white supremacist activities. So I would ask, what's the difference in the SPLC doing this and the CIA or the FBI planting informants in the Black Panther Party organization, the Martin Luther King Jr.'s, the whole Freedom Riders organization, the different organizations that over time have been infiltrated by espionage work. We spend millions of tax dollar funds on this. We pay informants millions of dollars and, pay for crazy different things. Is this not espionage?
It's completely different. It's a government activity versus a nonprofit activity who is soliciting people for money, not stealing it through taxation. They're soliciting people to donate money to them under false pretenses. Now, to me, the easy out is if they actually were telling their donors exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, but you can't.
Then
there's
espionage. Then there's no indictment.
But you can't tell people what you're doing to be that. Now, here's what I'm saying, right? Here's what I'm saying. Did they break the law? Of course.
It's fraud.
Of course they broke the law. Of course they broke the law. Do I know why they broke the law? Do I understand why they broke the law? Of course. Now, here's what I think that people are getting mixed up. Right? I think people are getting mixed up their espionage activities, whether illegal or not, you want to call them. And I like how you put that, like, no, people donated their money. They didn't get it jacked. They donated it, right? It's so good.
I mean, it's no different.
I know, it's just so good. It's like, you keep it real. Like, no, like they donated it thinking that they was doing one thing, like helping people like fight cases. No, but actually, they actually went and did espionage with it. But like, we just do espionage. We just jack you for your money and go do it. It don't tell you. Like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I dig it though. I dig it. But here's what I'm saying. How come I think that where people get excuses, they think that because the Southern Justice Poverty Law Center has an informant or finds someone to put out a Facebook blast or to put out a poster to say, hey, guys, let's all get together and come out and show our white nationalist loyalty all together, right? That doesn't, I think that people think that creates the 6,000 people that were there, right? Right now, right, if I told people to come out and do something stupid.
Well, but were they paying all of them too, maybe? We don't know.
Okay. So you could take that
That's a
walk. But just right now, right, we're just saying like they go to promote people to say, hey, let's come and do this thing, right? I'm just saying, if I have an idea that nobody's interested in, nobody's coming out to waste their time to do that, especially knowing that they would be looked upon society in a bad way. Like, we looked at those guys in a bad way. They got a bad rap. A lot of them lost jobs, and you know what I mean? It's not something that, is a popular thing to go out and do for, say, right now in 2023 when it happened or whatever. 2020, whatever it was.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was. But even like right now, I'm just saying those things aren't popular to do. I think that people think that because that happened, that is what created this movement or created these people, that came out and to a rally that did this.
So,
or like created the KKK because they have an informant.
So, but the indictment is that they falsified how they were getting money from their donors.
Yeah.
So, is that a worse crime than Trump was charged with 30-some felonies for entering things in his books differently?
Look. It's gonna be the same crime, like as down. I'm not here to like say that like Trump did something worse than someone else when it comes to a tax fraud or something. I understand the crime, right? I think my thing is I find it weird how people think that like the crime apart from it, right? That the espionage in some way has created the KKK. Like, that's what I see.
No, I don't think it.
I see a lot of message boards like that of people being like, oh, look, the whole time it's actually the Southern Poverty Law Center that's the racist people.
Well, I don't think.
They're actually funding the whole KKK or something, like 3 million, like was the lump sum of the whole white supremacist activities that's happened in America in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
But that's how people are framing it.
Yeah.
To where it's like, guys, this is espionage. People illegally took money and funneled it to illegal means so that they could fight racism by any means necessary that they saw fit. Which again, I would have did it a little differently, but I get it if that's how y'all doing it. If you found some real good information, did it save some lives maybe? I don't know. Whatever they say to justify it, whatever. I'm not into that. But I'm just saying, I wish that people could look at it from the lens of espionage, of what it really is, the same way that the espionage happens at so many different levels of other things, and not just government level, but company corporate wise. That like the espionage between like TikTok and competitors, or Apple and Microsoft, or the nuclear industry. What happens on those type of things, right? Now, this is espionage against a group of people that have historically killed and murdered thousands upon thousands of their fellow Americans, that pronounce genocide against certain Americans, that have the type of histories that are, abhorrent in our worst dreams and nightmares. And then I think that it's really weird to me that the bad guy arrow gets flipped on the people that do wire fraud or some type of illegal activity to try to stop some of the worst people in the world.
Yeah, and to know the whole thing prior to the trial, I don't think we will know the whole thing prior to the trial. But whatever 12 or 24 people, whatever a grand jury is, they saw it of this was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, I think they're probably going to, there's like a 99.9% chance this is going to most likely be a guilty rap. That being said, you know, sometimes you need to do the crime.
Yeah, they took the risk. They knew the risk going in.
And who's really going to go to jail?
Who knows?
You know, like who takes the fall? Like,
I would guess that
who's in the papers?
who's ever in the top of the organization. I mean, it's.
But you can always say, I didn't know about it. Like, who do they have talking about it? Who they have,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Really
right now,
shuffling the money.
right now, I'd guess nobody's talking about it from.
I'm saying, like, who's the
Southern
person they
Lodger.
have, you know, sliding the informant the money? And, you know, here's what's funny, too. You always think of, like, them sliding like this. Okay, me, when it first happened, you think of, like, them sliding this hillbilly some money, like some Billy Bob hillbilly. But, you know, really it's some dude in a suit with, like, a fresher cufflinks to me, like, you know, taking the money and then hopping in.
It was done electronically. That's why it's wire fraud. If it had been done with cash, they probably could have caught him.
Right? You're right. You're right. But just who they're giving it to. Like, you know, I always think of like racist hillbillies, like, you know, like these backwood type people, but really it's not, you know, it's, you know, they're in a boardroom, in a corporate joint.
It's no different than
Probably meeting at the
why
towers.
did the government for a while wanting to know any of your Venmo transactions over $600 for a year?
Why is that?
Well, it's trying to follow the money for gambling,
money.
illegal activity, drugs, prostitution, blah, 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 blah.
They're going to know how much money I lost in sports betting?
Yeah. I mean, or you know, whatever. But
So Ishmael's 1,200 down.
anything over $600 transaction in a 12-month period.
Yeah. Getting it in.
I mean, so even if you were paying, it's income tax fraud. If you were paying your Hispanic cleaning lady via Venmo,
Yeah.
you know, that they weren't doing that at the same time they were trying to hire
There's a lot of that in
87,000.
California. There's a lot of that in California.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Happening.
I mean, they wanted to hire 87,000 additional IRS agents to go after the billionaires. Bullshit.
Right. Right. No. I feel it. It's very, just like you said, they're getting the regular person. It's tough to be American, but I really did want to go over that because I think that so many people think that America is, you know, that Southern Poverty Justice Law Center, you know, was really, I don't like creating racism. You know,
but
that's the way I see it.
I mean,
it was tough for me.
Through your look,
But they definitely broke the law.
they were doing something just that was maybe illegal, trying to help.
That's what I want to give them the benefit of the doubt of, right? Now, I personally, of course, have never worked with the Southern Poverty Justice Law Center. I know of some good work they've done.
I've read of some good work.
Right. Now, that being said, right, I don't know exactly if they were on some tripping stuff like, you know, there's always what's that called? There's always the possibility that really maybe some crooked people there and they really were funneling some money and hey, they act like they're doing some espionage. They're really giving some money to some white supremacists and they're keeping a little bit for them. That could definitely be happening.
Yeah, we don't know.
100%. That could be happening. I would assume, and what I really think happened is the latter.
Coming from your gut.
Is like, they're just doing espionage against some of the most horrible terrorists that we've, you know, known historically, and they're still trying to keep that legacy of terrorism up today in America, right? And that's, of course, what we're against, which I think I may have told you this before, but, you know, one of the things when I was thinking about Trump again, I'm thinking about the Catholic and the Trump thing. And then I thought about this thing, the KKK thing. And when I was doing the research for the State History Museum, and I was asked to be on a board that was going through exhibits, and I was adverse to the story that they were telling about the KKK in Nebraska with the old exhibit they used to have. and it was just this KKK joint with this old Grand Wizard in the Nebraska chapter, and then he ended up having a relationship with this Jewish dude. They became friends, and then he vowed to stop being a KKK dude, and it was all lovey-dovey, right? But it told none of the story of the terroristic history of the KKK terrorizing Nebraskans. And in my research to redo this exhibit, I worked with great historians in Nebraska and great historians of Lincoln history and Nebraskan history from different facets of the world. And one of the historians really was bringing to light the vigilantism of Catholics, because the KKK was crazy against Catholics, and they were trying to rid Nebraska of all Catholics. And I mean, they were, you could say in a sense, like hunting them down, in some ways, like they were terrorizing black folks. And it was crazy. And so these Catholics were really against the KKK, and they were a big push to pushing out the KKK and establishing some of the first anti-terrorism laws that were against the KKK in Nebraska. And so I worked like 9 months with different folks. And then one of my ex-students was an English major at the university. And so we took all the research to him and what I kind of wanted to say, and then we brought to him, and he made the copy for it, right? So we included so many facets of this, and he used his advisor and everything. The head of the English department was helping to write this. I mean, it was chock full of great history from so many different sides and segments of Nebraska, from this historical Catholic position, from this historical black position, from this historical even Jewish position. It had so much to it. We worked all this hard, and then they decided at the end just to take the exhibit down. They didn't redo the exhibit and put our beautifully written thing that we took so much. They didn't want the real history, right? They just wanted their bull crap. And so that connection between the Catholics and
either they didn't want the history, or they didn't think that their audience was ready for that truth of history.
So it's weird. Well, it's always weird to me that the audience is fine and ready for a Holocaust story in history, which is up there because it ties the World War II, and they have a big segment, had a segment on the Holocaust and how that tied into people in Nebraska fighting against anti-Semitism. It seems like they don't have a problem with so many different stories or segments, but for some reason, holding the KKK accountable, in America, or Nebraska,
somebody
and Nebraskan history,
somebody.
So, isn't it again something like that, something small like that, right? That doesn't want to tell the true history of the KKK in Nebraska. Were they against the Catholics? Were they against the blacks? Like, what were they against of telling that story? Now, here's what I'm trying to say. And then when people don't understand how this prejudice and then turns into acts of racism happen at corporate levels or at small business levels and different levels, where it's like these things, if they won't even tell it, they won't even let it get through at like somebody is blocking this to get as a visual depiction, as an exhibit in the museum. Think about how many people are blocking you out of business, or blocking you out of loans, or blocking you out of opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see the people that actually stopped it, who had a family history involved in that, and why it was stopped. I mean,
there's so many, a lot of things.
There's so many untold truths about stuff. And they don't think people are ready for it. They don't want to implicate their family. It could be a whole bunch of reasons, man.
He's looking like, that was. I just remember that being wild. But I thought it was really interesting, the Catholic and the history of the Catholic kind of KKK war, you know, within that, I think a lot of people didn't see or kind of forget about the amount of disdain for Catholics in a lot of places.
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely. I mean, I told you what my
which is
grandfather
kind of
told
wild.
me.
Yeah, I mean, for real, but that's kind of wild.
But-
like I think people forget about when you think about the religious tension. A lot of times you're thinking Muslim to Jewish, or even maybe Muslim to Christian, right? But you're not usually thinking like Protestant to Catholic.
Well, I mean, you think about, so the Pope came out and was, don't be bombing Iran, don't.
Basically, he was just like on some, hey, peace stuff.
Yeah.
Peace.
But I didn't I never saw, I still haven't seen him take a huge stand on the genocides happening in Africa, the genocides that were happening within Iran publicly in recent times.
I'm not for sure.
So I don't know if that was
Well, the genocides happening in Africa right now are probably funded by the Pope, but so you probably can't talk about that one.
But you know what I mean. I mean, if you want peace,
I hate to laugh about something like that.
If you want peace, you want peace. We have so much hypocrisy in our
But
world.
isn't it kind of like this, Pops? If I hop out and I say, okay, right now, if Coach Prime, right? This time last year, Coach Prime had bladder cancer. Okay. And if I want to come out, if I'm close to Coach Prime or I'm a fan of Coach Prime and I'm like, support bladder cancer research, right? I love Coach Prime. I love it. If I'm close to Coach Prime, I wish. Like I be out here talking about Coach Prime like he's my guy. Like Coach Prime like called me personally. He never did, but I feel like I know what he would say if he would call me. He'd be like, "Keep going, young man. You got this." I'm not even that young anymore, but I am young. Anyways, if I came out and I said support bladder cancer research, right? Or man, bladder cancer is horrible, guys. Bladder cancer is horrible, right? Does it mean that I don't care about lung cancer or stomach cancer or whatever cancer? It's like, no, right now, though, bladder cancer is close to me. It's happening. I see it. Mm-hmm. It's right here and it's happening. And I feel like my voice may be able to help somebody do something like go get screened if that's what I thought that you should do. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like that. So I feel like sometimes it's more of that than, oh, he doesn't speak out about this or something else. It's like, this is what's happening right now. This is what's
but I didn't
under my lens.
Yeah, well, and I didn't hear the Pope say, hey, quit sending bombs to Ukraine to defend themselves. Quit, stop the war.
Yeah.
Maybe he's asked for peace,
but maybe he did.
Yeah, we just don't hear it. We just don't hear it in the U.S. because it's not the U.S.
Because it was the big Trump thing that he said, which could be. And
I think his speech was written well before.
But he still probably says peace all around the world, whether or not. Again, it's an oxymoron because, of course, I don't believe that his domain and rule and establishments are truly promoting peace
squeaky
around
clean.
the world. But then there's a lot of people that say yes, they are, and a whole bunch of things. So my son goes to a Jesuit institution. But that being said, I do think that it's one of those things, just kind of like what you're alluding to a little bit, is we heard it because it was in America, the Trump thing, where we probably, it's probably I support bladder cancer type thing, you know.
Well,
but I don't know. It could be maybe is singling out Trump.
I mean, it's going to be interesting.
A lot of people single out Trump, and it's hard to not be singled out if you're Trump.
When you're as loud as he is.
It's almost like you're like, hey, come and say something about me.
I mean, I know there's a lot of people rooting that he will end up getting shot.
Yeah.
Based on some of the online things I saw, I was
of course, right, man. People, like I said, I've had people hope that people have literally publicly, or not publicly, whatever, online said, I should be killed. People put death threats on a lot of people, right? Like Justin Bieber probably gets death threats all the time. I get it, 100%. President does get death threats. People do think that he should die. I also think that, like I was saying, like when you're so loud and things like that, you're a target. Like, for example, you know how I dress every day almost.
So
Right. But if I go somewhere and I expect something, if I everywhere I go somewhere, if I'm like, man, I wish people would stop talking about how I dress, or man, why do they got to always say something about how I dress? It's kind of like, bruh, well, look, I mean, you're wearing, a full, beautiful suit. People are going to say something, right? So you have to expect that.
Well,
right. Like, I can't expect people not to say something about how I'm dressed when I'm so freaking fly. Like, Trump is going to get that because he's so abrasive.
yeah. Well, I guess historically, so Joe Biden was the first Catholic to ever make it through a term without getting shot as president.
Did anybody try to shoot Joe?
Nope, not that I know of.
Sleepy Joe.
So he's the only Catholic to make it through.
Wow.
As president.
Wow.
That's
A lot of people hated on him.
I believe, and maybe I could be wrong because I don't know all of them, but
a lot of people hated on him as Catholic.
All of our presidents that have been shot and or killed were Republicans. I can't think of a Democrat that was shot in office.
I don't know.
But according to the Democrats, the Republicans are the hate mongrels. They're the vigilantes. They're the violent. I'm going to ask that question here.
I mean, they're all violent, but I know what you're trying to say, and I get it. I definitely get it. I know one of the smoothest things was when when something sounded like it was a shot and Reagan didn't even trip. He was just like, "Miss me."
Trump's head was still up. He wanted to see what was going on.
That was some gangster shit. Like, he was like, "Miss me." Like, he's a gangster. Cocaine cowboy, big Reagan. But okay. So the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right? The shot happens. People start going a little bit crazy, right? They come because they're closest to J.D. Vance, so they grab J.D. Vance first, right? Okay. He ushers off and goes.
Oh, JFK. Sorry about that. JFK was a Democrat.
JFK was a Democrat.
But he was a Catholic.
Okay. But he was
a Catholic that got killed.
But he seemed like a Republican. No, that was Lyndon B. Johnson after him, huh? No, he's a Democrat. He was a Southern Democrat. Lyndon B. Johnson, who flipped. And then, yeah, it was a whole different thing. It was a weird thing. Anyways, he looks really weird. Lyndon B. Johnson looks like a robot. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Going back. Dang, what was I talking about? Right before I lost my train of thought when I got Lyndon B. Johnson's head in my face. It just took me all out of it. Dang, it was a fun point too. Oh, well.
That means we're getting tired.
Well, yeah, I'm sure to come back. Okay. Oh, the Correspondents' Dinner.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So they grab JD. He leaves. Then they grab Trump, right? And you see when Trump fell, and then there's that lady trying to get to the back too. She's trying to
crawling,
dip and dodge away around Trump or whatever. And now look, I promise you, I would say the same thing about Republicans. And you know that historically, I don't like RFK Jr., but I like a lot of things about RFK Jr., right? Like, I find myself going to bat for RFK Jr. a lot, right? Because I agree with a lot of the things health-wise of him. I have a lot of other opinions about him other ways, not why other people do. Like, people think he's crazy for other things. Like, I'm not on that. I don't care what he eats or whatever. I'm not on that. But anyways, when it comes to those men, and I promise you, if those were, people I really look up to, it's hard. People that I like in the
small list.
Yeah, I know. I'm tripping, if there is a group of people that I really admire, or look up to, or whatever, or my friends or whatever, my friends or family, right? If we're in that room, and if we're in that room, I'm with my friends and family. If I'm with, let's say you're in this room and I have my cousin Ramias with me, my homie Dean with me, the guys that be in my birthday, Array and them guys and Josh. Okay, so if they're around and we're all with our wives, okay, or our ladies, and the shots go off, what's the first thing we're doing instinctually?
Well, it depends if I'm packing or not at that specific time, but I'm going to protect my wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even if you're
I think that's what you're
packing,
getting at.
you're like, I'm getting the thing out, I'm getting the wife down, I'm kind of getting in front of the wife. I'm
Get
like,
my wife
what's
out
up?
of here.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I'm looking for the exit with my wife, and I'm looking at mine. I'm protecting my wife. I'm just saying, none of those dudes, their first reaction, none of those dudes were, let me look at my lady.
Well, Trump, I think, was trying to see what was going on.
Now, I wasn't there, and there was a lot of confusion, a lot of...
I mean, I've watched a lot of footage on it.
But after you see someone come in and grab J.D. Vance, right? Like, I got to get my lady.
Well, and he wasn't even... His happened so fast, he was still seated.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so fast.
I mean,
his detail was really, really close to him.
Trump was seated too, and they had to go run around and get boys. So all I'm saying is, and I'm not tripping. I understand people have different people. I'm not like, oh, how come they didn't get to Trump first? I'm not on that. Like, I know, like you're at different points. You get there when you get there.
And if you watch that, the
the
first guy that went to the Trump side got in front of him like a human shield.
Just kind of blocked him, and then the other guys got rid. So
it was kind of interesting.
But what I'm saying is, when you see that happening, I feel like the first response is to protect my lady. Now, I'm not calling those men cowards. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm going back to your original joint when you said Jimmy Kimmel. Because if you already know what's happening, you know it's not really a threat and not really, really popping. Then your first instinct ain't to protect your lady. Because I still think that they're men, and their first instinct is to protect the lady.
Well, and
that's why with
the Secret Service, though, it's kind of a weird deal because they...
But you still protect your lady as a man. Now, peep this.
Yeah.
As a man, isn't that one of the beauty things about traveling alone?
Yeah.
Is you don't have to protect nobody. You get to be for you. You know what I mean, though? Like, you're traveling, you're not scanning to make sure that you're, watching out for your
Like, it'll be really interesting.
It's
just going to be Cheryl and I going on that trip to Paris and that river cruise.
You got two people now to be care of.
Yeah.
But when
I got
alone,
one person to take care of. I'm not worried about me. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you know what I'm saying.
But, it's no different than even now when I go into a restaurant, I don't like my back to the front door, and I want to know where the exits are at.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
You want to know. But at the same time, it's like, so that's all I'm saying is that's another kind of telltale sign to me that something ain't quite right. Because all these manly men, the man's men, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to look after their lady first, I believe.
It's an interesting thought process.
Oh, look, is this guy coming up here again? Is this guy high? I promise you. He came up here before, and he saw the thing in front of the door, right? Because obviously we still have something in front of the door. I think he must have came before. And then he forgot that he came up before and saw it again and left. Oh, man, these guys. Anyways, so that's what my thing from the correspondence dinner was. It just seemed weird to me, definitely. And then you saw the guy, the shooter. I seen a picture with the Israeli, I don't know. But I never know what's AI and what's not. I don't know if that's real yet. So you know what I realize whenever something like that happens, I usually don't even try to look at nothing for like 5 or 6 days.
I've tried to wait on stuff on the shooter, with the exception of they did have his weapons of choice. I saw those on the evening news.
I just try to let it chill 5 or 6 days so all the smoke will settle and all the little things, and then try to see if something is actually real.
I did find it really interesting just because of the weapons. I chose okay, but he bought them in California and then transported them all the way across the country.
He drove?
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Well, you got to drive. Emmett Johnson, out of Nebraska, gets drafted 5th round. Congratulations, Emmett Johnson gets drafted.
He's going to kill it in KC.
He gets drafted.
He's going to kill in KC because he can catch the ball too.
A lot of people say a lot of things, right? But it's like, a person gets to fulfill his dreams and all that. Cool. People are going to, I've heard the people say, and I even questioned, could he have made more money in college? Could he have did another year and came out and then been even a badder man out here in the draft? I thought that he was projected 2nd round or something. 2nd to 5th round is a lot of difference to money.
It was not a top. The biggest in this draft were offensive, defensive linemen, and DBs.
But I heard he had not a great combine. I guess he said like some of his combine stock dropped. His stock dropped after the combine, and I'm like, it's just tough, man. It's tough that, that one day. It's the same way I kind of feel about the AC test.
Where did Tom Brady get? Where did he get drafted?
Right. I mean, I dig it, but it's kind of the same way like the ACT test, right? Like this test is supposed to tell you how good you're supposed to do in college. It's like, but not like the last 4 years of work that you put in, that you showed up consistently day in and day out and things. It's like gross. It's like, who cares what the combine exactly, what I'm saying, shows? Look, man, I've seen this man play 2 years of great football at a high level, right?
So you're drafted based on somebody's opinion as to how you're going to help that team.
Sure, 100%. And that's what they see.
Remember,
it's tough.
Michael Jordan got cut from his basketball team in high school.
Yeah. And he went number 3 in the draft. Like Sam Bowie. Sam Bowie's number 1 in that draft.
Yeah.
Sam Bowie, Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan. Sam Bowie.
Who won the most championships? Who ended up being the king of cash?
Yeah. Now that's the man. Now, I want to talk a little bit. I know you don't watch NBA.
No.
But man, oh man, what a product that they do have. Every time I watch it, I am impressed. And like I said, as a basketball coach, sometimes, right, I'm like, oh, they're carrying, or, there's some travel. I saw a lot of travels called, actually. There was multiple travels called in a game, which I was like, really? They're doing that here? But the amount of athleticism, the amount of the pure poetry on the floor there is next freaking level.
Well, you're...
Wow. Wow.
I don't know.
And the physicality, this Rockets-Lakers game, the guy, I forget his name, but for the Rockets, this guy is a 6'11", 270-pound guy, and he's just like backing up, just boom, boom, boom. The elbows are flying, and he's on offense. He's just booming them. And I'm like, they're not going to call an offensive foul? Like, no, they're just letting them. And I'm like, this is...
They're trying to go back to... They're trying to go back to more old school 80s, 90s NBA.
The amount of physicality that I saw, I was like, how is this basketball?
But look at...
It was... it was
by and
rough.
large...
Whew.
You look at the Final Four and how much they let those guys play.
Yeah, they do. That stuff gets physical too.
I played basketball, and I said basketball is a contact sport.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of a meathead,
I'm trying to tell you, Pops.
You were more poetry playing basketball than me. I was more...
I'm telling you, they're taking this to the next level. It wasn't just technique. When they're boxing out, they are banging.
Oh, yeah.
They are... Whoo! Anyways.
I was the guy that, if somebody was driving and I was going to foul, I was pissed off. I was pissed off if the ball got above the rim, because then it could have went in.
You're going to foul.
And my coach should be like, wow, man, that was a hard foul. He's like, well, if it gets above the rim, it could go in.
Look.
I don't want to give up any 3-point plays.
I'm with you. You saw a couple of these. I'm serious in this game. Now, to bring up to speed, I don't know if you know, LeBron was supposed to get swept against the Rockets. He was up 3-0. He Austin Reeves and Luka are out. So it's just LeBron at 41 carrying a team, being vintage LeBron, doing everything. And it was just really fun to watch a little bit. And I saw a little bit. And then, of course, I watched last night's game. And
he should be well rested. He only played half the season.
Shoot. He took a couple games off. He did, but he did play a lot of games. Man, that guy's he's played 280-something playoff games in his career. He's played 3 whole NBA seasons.
Yeah.
Just in playoffs.
Yeah.
And then he gets late. He's always getting late.
But he's only won 4 ships out of being there 10 times in the finals.
Hey, I tell you what, man,
I'm still an MJ. He's my GOAT.
That's fine with me. Like, MJ can be, that's all fine with me, 100%. Like, anybody can be his GOAT. That's 100%. It's just the amount of basketball that guy has played, and the amount of longevity to be able to still do it at this high of a level. I guess I just respect it so much because, when I still go and play a little bit up at Vasa, right? And just the next day, how I just can barely move.
But you don't have all the recovery stuff and the nutrition stuff.
But I'm also not getting pounded for 46 minutes by the best athletes in the world.
And you're not...
these guys are...
You're not really as buff as
No,
LeBron.
I mean not really, not even a quarter.
I'm
as
trying to give you a little
LeBron.
credit, man.
I wish, man. LeBron is so built, but I mean all these guys are built. Man, the whole freaking league.
Well, all of them have
is
their own
stacked,
nutritionists. They have their own trainers. They have their own people that come over for recovery.
Yes.
I mean,
guess what I'm saying is like when you watch top down, I'm talking about bench to bench. The amount of talent on that freaking court is outstanding. How good everybody is. You give anybody the ball and they are a monster.
you go back though to like, the Bill Russells, the Jerry West, those guys that didn't have any of that. In fact, they were probably smoking cigarettes and
They were
drinking cocktails
beers
right after the game.
Yeah, drinking beers before the game, drinking beers in the
Yeah.
locker room and shit.
Well, MJ,
Smoking cigars and everything.
Yeah.
But they didn't have killers bench to bench, man.
No,
They just weren't
no.
killers. Now, here's what I do believe. Those greats can still be great in this game right here, right now,
Oh, yeah.
today. I do believe that. But just
Well, the top to bottom, but top,
they just weren't. Yeah, it wasn't the starting five to starting five. You
Well, but-
can't do that.
look at college basketball today
You just can't do
versus 20 years ago.
Nope, you can't do it. Now, again, your AIs, your T-Max, you know what I'm saying? Those guys are always just going to be great, right?
Yep.
And they're going to always be the anomaly, I feel like, right?
Yep.
You're always going to have your anomalies. But, man, today, these guys are just... anyways,
Well, you think
just check out a cut. Man, watch a LeBron game, man. It's fun.
you think those guys are taking some pounding and doing some stuff?
Yeah.
Stanley Cup playoffs are going on too.
And so me and
And
Megan...
those guys give some shots,
Me
brother.
and Megan, where were we at? We were somewhere and the games are on. And I'm watching the basketball. And I'm like, hey, babe, did you see that? She's over here watching hockey. No, did you see that? I'm like, so yeah, those guys will just outright fight and that's what you can do.
Well-
That's so crazy to me still that you can just outright fight in the game.
And
Like that is a hell of a thing. Like, nah, talk shit
those-
if you want to. Cause I'm just going to square up.
and those guys are in shape.
What do you mean? They're skating all day.
mean-
You know what that takes to skate? It's every muscle.
Oh
It's
yeah.
every muscle. Those
Their
dudes-
core is so
man.
strong.
Nah, man. Like those guys are on it, but they're on a different level of kind of crazy too. Like,
Yeah, they are.
Because that puck will kill you.
Oh yeah.
Like first thing. Second thing, you're losing teeth. Third thing, then you're out there just fighting against people. It's crazy.
And they have a weapon.
Right? You got to stick all day. No, seriously, they just come through and just.
I know.
It's a wonderful game.
And they went to carbon fiber on them now because they're breaking the aluminum ones.
That's crazy. But that's a
it is
beautiful
nuts.
game, though. It really is a beautiful game. And again, it's like poetry, man, on ice, man. When they're moving the way they move and the way they can just
And so fast.
and that noise is really cool. They come and and then
yeah.
even against the walls, they boom, like against. Oh man, it's a real cool crack
It's a.
against the.
But I had to
against
throw
the
that in there
wall.
because I like hockey.
Oh man, it's a cool freaking game. One of the coolest experiences ever was at that Knights game.
Yeah.
We were right there on the
You were
glass
on the glass.
too. That's different. And in the owner's little lounge thing, that's a whole difference being there, but like that. But that is an electric atmosphere.
So I'm looking for some floor seats for an NBA game with you.
Oh man, that's gonna be crazy. But that's kind of like
That's,
we can't.
that's
do
gonna be
that.
lottery shit, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't do that until we're like, until
One of us
we get
hits
some
the
different
lottery.
pops up. Well, the lottery comes in a lot of ways. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
that's true.
And one of those lotteries is going to come.
And as you've often said, I hit the lottery in life.
Right,
You know?
100%, 100%.
So-
But even then, we're just playing because we would never buy. Well, I would never even accept floor seats because floor seats, man. You're just as good up in the first bowl, and floor seats at NBA games are like $20K. It's stupid, fam. It's dumb money. It's just wild. It's wild, but shit, I don't know how much. How much do glass tickets cost at NHL playoff games? See. So let me be quiet because all those type of tickets are super freaking expensive.
I'm fading. I got to drive home yet.
Oh yeah,
I'm tired, brother.
Okay. Peep this.
So
Peep this. People, be nice to somebody this week. Go out and just do something nice for somebody without anything in return. Be genuinely nice. Bring somebody some type of beautiful peace.
So today, this was kind of cool because I love pay forward. I love stuff like that. So there was a handicapped adult at Hy-Vee who was bagging my groceries. Pretty new because he had like his supervisor there with him, probably from a group home. And, you know, they were like, yeah, put the eggs separate. And, you know, she used to explain this to him. And we got done and she gave me my change and I gave him the $2 and said, Frank, you did a great job, man.
Big Frank.
And he looked at me, had the biggest smile on his face.
He's ready for that
I
$2.
mean, $2 made the guy's day, but probably more importantly, just telling him he did a good job. So
somebody else giving him that gratification, someone else.
Positive
him,
energy,
hey.
man.
Yeah.
So
Some validation.
yeah, love your neighbor, love your family,
Yes.
and you know, try to pay forward every opportunity you get. And it doesn't just have to be in treasure; it can be in time and talent.
And just some validation.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, do I smell pasta?
Oh, it's time to eat time at this house.
Ooh, she was cooking.
I gotta hit it. So, love you all. Peace out. We'll see you soon. Hopefully, gonna get another one in this next week before I take off on vacation.
Ooh,
Love you all, man.
Europe.
Bye-bye.
Europe. That was a good one, Bob.
That was a
No agenda, no bull crap, just real conversations. Thank you for joining us for the Middle of the Street podcast.